What's the most important date in the calendar of 2026? It's not your anniversary. It's not your wife's birthday. It is May 16th. And it's central London. Unite the kingdom. 4 nations, 1 kingdom. Bringing the UK together. Britain, Wales, Scotland, Northern Ireland, even the Republic of Ireland are coming over. People are hitting London from all over the globe. They're coming to give us a voice. The world's alternative journalists, the world's independent media are coming. The entire globe is going to be looking at central London when we send a message. What is our message? We've had enough. We've had enough of betrayal. We've had enough of the replacement. We've had enough of mass immigration. We are proud British people. We will be silent no longer. We are coming together. We're uniting and we're celebrating who we are. You've made us feel ashamed. You've made us feel isolated for too long. We're not isolated. We are together. We are unified. And that strikes fear into the heart of the British establishment. They're losing. Their power's crumbling. They're tentacles of the totalitarian state, the media, the judiciary. It's all crumbling. The world is watching. Every government around the world is looking at Great Britain and laughing at them. So please come. There's an election before our event. Let Unite the Kingdom on May 16th be the date that the Labour government, Keir Starmer, that man that turned his courts on our people, he turned the media, he weaponised them. He imprisoned innocent mums. Innocent grandfathers died in those prisons. He weaponised it all to try and strike fear into the heart of the British public. It didn't work. It's lit a fire in our bellies. We're coming together. We're coming to London. We're coming peacefully. We're coming joyfully. We're going to sing. We're going to have a great day. We're going to have a celebration. It's wonderful. If you went last time, you know how good it was. Everyone who went last time, bring your friends, bring more family. Come to central London. It's happening on May 16th. May 16th will be looked back upon, as will September 13th. September 13th was the largest gathering Britain has ever seen. Ever. Ignore what the media say. It doesn't matter what they say. 66 million people watched our video. That's the most watched event. Forget Live Aid. Forget all of it. This is the biggest concert, the biggest celebration Britain's ever going to have seen. And it's happening on May 16th. You want to be able to tell your children, I was there. I was there during that cultural revolution. When Britain stood up, when the people come together, when the silent majority said no more, I was there. See you on May 16th. And we have put together a song, a track to celebrate it. Learn the words. Make sure you learn the words. So when it bellows out across our capital city, across the globe, because that's what's going to happen, you know the words, you can get involved. 4 nations, 1 kingdom, May 16th. May 16th, central London. The call goes out again. 4 nations, 1 kingdom. 1 voice that can't be silenced.
From England's heart to Scotland's hills, from valleys wide to Ulster's will, the drums are sounding, the call is near, for every patriot to gather here. 4 nations, 1 kingdom, together we rise. Beneath 1 flag under British skies, we will not bend nor compromise. 4 nations united before your eyes. Our voices thunder, our banners fly. 4 nations, 1 kingdom till we die. England, Central, Scotland, Central, Wales, Revire, Ulster, give all. This is our land, our truth, our song. Together we stand, together we belong.
Abbott, that's what I say. But you never guess who's actually turned up this week. Yeah, I know. He has. No, I'm not lying. Look, ready? Look. Oh, he's done the runner. Look, yes.
I'm here.
How about that? Guardian Mo has become invisible. We can see right through him.
Magical.
Munching Monster. Hey! He's trying to get sponsored by Monster Munch. Yes, it is a calling show today, ladies and gents. So anything you want to say, ask this, that. I will put the link up shortly once we spoke to Mr. Mo, the invisible one. He looks like a box. Whoop, there it is.
Hey.
Hey.
How's everyone doing?
Hi, Mo.
Let's
Missed you
go.
last week, mate.
Yeah,
Look at
mate.
me. I'm a professional podcaster now. Hey.
Oh, look at you. The compass. Nice. Mate.
Is your
How was
kitted
your
out?
trip to Benidorm?
Absolutely wonderful, thank you. I got lost on my
Nice.
way to Chesterfield today, picking this boom microphone up. I don't know where it ended up going. I used to go there some years ago, but I completely forgot the route and just relied on my nose compass and got lost.
Yeah, I was thinking of buying that as well, like a boom arm that you can attach to your desk.
That's
it'd
it.
be
Yeah,
good.
15 quid,
Yeah.
mate. 15 quid without the microphone, without the mic. But yeah.
Well,
All right.
good. I'm missing out clearly. I got my mic like this.
Yeah.
I should get a boom stand. Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
I've got one of them spare
my
now.
gums.
Since I took this microphone out of my boom stand, I've got one of them spare now. It's got all the elastic bands in it, but obviously having that on my table, it won't pick up my voice. So I had to get one of these. Well, basically, it's just like one of them lamps, isn't it? You know, them table lamps that you get. It's one of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Wizard, you've got a shock absorber as well. That really helps with the audio, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got the whole shebang. I might even get a different one because I have to keep changing the adapter, so I don't know what's going on. Don't know what's going on.
You're burning it out.
Just what's the time? 7. That took 7 minutes to get the alert that I was live. Wow, it's not on time, is it, YouTube? But yeah, literally, I literally have nothing for today's show because I thought, well, Mo wants to do a call in, and Mo's probably going to talk. And then obviously Electrodoc. So, you know, you can talk about anything, whatever's on your mind basically today. So, you know.
Yeah, I mean, it's good to do free for all. Because,
that's it, mate.
I mean, there's so many things to talk about. But I think the news has kind of gone stale around politics because Ben is kind of doing his thing. Rupert's doing his thing. Yeah, there's a bit of a... That's all right. It's not too bad.
I'm trying to see when the new law for that Islamophobia comes in, the new definition or whatever, because like I can see Ace is saying in the chat there, the YTGNBN, good news, bad news, call her Ace. She's saying like today, but I'm Googling it and nothing's coming up. So
what's today?
It's supposed to be the new Islamophobia.
I think
definition.
the Islamophobia. Yeah, Islamophobia.
Yeah,
law.
but nothing's coming up saying about today. So,
oh, it's still legal then. Can call them what I want.
But thing is, though, right? They can't do that anyway. How come, like, Muslims can go to a mosque? You idiot. Go to a synagogue or go anywhere where the Jews are and actually try to genocide the poor people. And then you're telling us that we can't talk about Islam. Like, are you for real? Like, the problem is Islam. So how can we not be allowed to talk about it? Is like the whole scheme to silence us against a death cult. It's ridiculous. It makes no sense. Like, you'd think like they'd be coming up with something to protect the Jews that are like 0.4% of our British population. You think, well, they need protecting. No, we got to look after the Muslims. They're playing victim. They've already killed like 250,000 people over the last 50 years through Islamic terrorist attacks. So we got to look after them, mate. They're running down the Manchester High Street on their horses. Do you know what I mean? We've got to look after them.
Yeah, no, I saw them last night on horseback. But that to me shows that the government and the establishment, they're scared of them. I don't think they're actually thinking of the Muslims as victims. I don't think they're defending them at all. I think they're scared of them. I think they're operating out of, you know, fear, intimidation. Because they're with these Islamophobia laws and blasphemy laws, basically underhand blasphemy laws, they're trying to censor people into just not talking about it. This is a kind of gateway, you know, introducing these words, these little keywords that you can't mention on your social media platforms or posts or whatever. That's a kind of gateway into eventually forbidding anyone from talking about it in the first place.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Why not just ban anyone from talking about religion at all? Just don't talk about any religion.
Yeah, let's go back to the 400th century, shall we?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Craters. I just don't get it. Like, but I'm putting like Islamophobia law today and all that, but nothing's coming up.
Islamolabia.
Yeah. It's my new word. It's ridiculous. There's nothing on X either about it.
Yeah.
Which I thought.
Wait, those
you know,
lads on horseback, they should have been arrested straight away.
Yeah, right.
Yep.
What under the Greens Council? Yeah, right.
There's about a dozen fucking highway code violations that they made.
Oh, don't matter.
They didn't even have high vis vests. That's a
Well, they
complete
probably-
violation.
Yeah, they've probably changed all those laws for Muslims, so they can
Just
get
for
away
one
with it.
night,
Yeah,
just for one evening.
yeah. They've been screwing
Yeah, it's
around in
crazy.
background with, the plumber and the boob whisperer. Terrible. Hey, how does my microphone sound? By the way, I haven't heard it yet.
It's really
that's
good.
all right, mate.
Really good audio.
Cool.
All our microphones are good.
There we go.
Even on X, it just says, "Oh, it's supposed to be getting a new anti-Muslim hostility SAR." TSAR. What a stupid word that is, but it's basically just going to take away free speech, isn't it? So you can talk about anything, but you can't talk about Islam. What? And Islam's the only one that people are worried about. How weird's that?
A SAR sounds very much like a Middle Eastern thing, doesn't it? So maybe they put a Muslim in charge of the definitions. So yeah, screwed, aren't we?
Yeah.
True.
Again. So we've got a Muslim in charge of our security, and we've got another one in charge of what you can and can't say about Muslims.
Yep.
There you go.
I don't know what to say about that. It's just crazy.
Indeed.
It's crazy. So yeah, but yeah. Other than that, I see something to do with Paul Burgess has popped up on that Vindicator Strikes Back. I don't watch his channel. I've unsubscribed.
Oh yeah, that guy.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I've unsubscribed and all
So-
that. But someone was saying that he's ruined the college or something, and like advance is done now because of what Paul Burgess said. That's what they.
Yeah.
I think it was not Phil. I can't. Let me go back in chat see if it's still there.
Do you know Vindicator?
Terry's.
I actually watched him for a while, Vindicator, for about
did.
half a year. I really
did.
loved his videos. Until I found out like he rarely compliments people. He spends
Yeah.
more time criticizing people on the on the same political spectrum or same side as us more than himself, and that's it's just someone who lacks humility, and he's really toxic, like really toxic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like there's things that he says, like there's no reason for you to attack people on the same
No, of
side.
course there isn't.
Might as
Of
well
course there isn't.
just spend your energy on something else, just
Yeah.
attacking
Yep.
Starmer or something.
Yeah.
Even when I
Well,
called in, he just wouldn't listen to a word I was saying, and then makes out or said something that I didn't. So that was the end of that. So
Yeah,
done and
yeah,
dusted.
I blocked the channel. I blocked him,
Yeah.
and I just don't want to engage with him at all, even on X. It's just
It
don't
called
recommend your videos to me on the algorithm. I
Yeah.
don't want to know.
Yeah, it called Wiz out, didn't you, Wiz?
Yep.
Yeah, getting in touch with you and stuff. Yeah. But
I
Richie
mean,
and
how sad is it for him to make an hour video about Wizard and Paul Thorpe and many other people, just like 1 hour live streams, just dedicated to bashing people.
Yeah,
and
there
name
was
calling and smearing.
there was
It's
a
so
mod
sad.
as well.
It's just
who got
sad.
a
It's-
mod as well for Paul Thorpe. They got called out. Yeah, sounds like Care Bear, but it's not Care Bear. Someone
With
else.
my one, it's like, where's your evidence? Where's your evidence? I'm like, the
Yeah.
video I'm
What the
showing
guy's saying.
is my evidence for the video I'm making. So this video I'm making is based on this video, and that video is my evidence. I'm just saying this bloke said that. Yeah, but where's your evidence, mate?
Yeah.
Are you like 10 years
Oh,
old? He
God.
was just baiting it, and yeah. And then when I called that bloke out in the chat and that, and I said, mate, I was just about to say, as an ex-doorman, like you can say what you like, but it didn't. All I got out was you're an ex-doorman. That was it. Oh well, I'm ex-force. Oh, you're not
Then
threatening me. And I was like,
Then
wow,
got-
mate. You
Then he
got
got
Willie, hasn't he?
yeah. Then he got thrown out like and blocked, and then Vindicator. I carried on watching for a bit. Vindicator said, "Well, I'll take that as a win." Okay,
That's what I mean. It's
You know what I mean?
pathetic.
Yeah,
It's
And
just
it's all these
drama king,
people-
drama queen.
But
yeah.
you know, that's
Complete
like
drama
if I
queen.
said something on here, everyone would side with me because it's my channel. So everyone's going to side with him because it's his channel. So I was just like, do you know what, mate? I've done what you done, Mo. I'm just like done, dusted, unsubscribed, blocked.
Just forget
Yeah.
about it. He's a waste of
Yeah,
space.
like
Complete waste
it's
of
water
space.
off a duck's back. I was like, I don't care, mate. Like an idiot.
It's
Do you know
one
what I
ear,
mean?
one out.
Yeah, the
In
people
through one
they
ear,
won't say
out through
anything
the other.
face to face. They probably got no argument because, like, where's your evidence? That's my evidence. Yeah, but where's your evidence? That's my evidence. But where's your? Oh, mate, are you 10 years old? But yeah, this is Cherries. Cherry said it. Something about the interview with Paul Burgess. Lot to talk about now, Eddie. That's you, Rich.
That's me.
And how we
I
can
know who
defend
I
the
am.
college now. I think that's advance over for me.
No, I don't think so.
So it's over for Cherries. I haven't seen it. I'm not going to see it. But if you want to tell us, Cherries, what was said and that, give us an idea. It'll be happy days. But a lot of what Paul Burgess says could be taken with a pinch of salt.
Yeah. So Moes had experience. Moes had experience.
I'm just gonna
with Mr.
look.
Virgin,
I'm just gonna say this, right? This is just my personal experience. I had a bit of a back and forth email conversation with Paul, and I can definitely tell you he is not a person you can get along with very easily. Like it's as if you have to change your personality to fit his kind of way of talking to people.
Yeah.
He has a particular way of talking to people. It's and it's not pleasant. He's really quite unpleasant.
Yeah.
I can't imagine working with a guy.
No,
He's a pain in the back.
I felt talked down to, you know.
I'm sorry to say, like, talk down to, exactly. Yeah. Very patronizing.
Yeah, I loaded up a video today with I thought, do you know what? You know all this like ethno or it just bugs me having to like mention this, but I thought I'll have to do it because this ethno-nat narrative or Sibnat, or if you're British, if you're English, if you're British and English, all that narrative, that's really, really getting under my skin at the moment. It's bugging me because I don't care. Like, it's one of those things where if you're in this country and you respect everything about this country, the culture, the history, the people, you want what's best for the country, you want what's best for the people, then the chances are we're going to get along. So that's cushy. Do you know what I mean? And I thought, right, I'm going to do a video. I'm going to have a look and actually see what the white British population is and see what they're going on about. Mate, I nearly fell off my chair. I literally put it in. I was asking Copilot and it was coming up with an answer. And then all of a sudden it was deleting it. I was like, hang on, what's it doing? And it wouldn't tell me. And I wanted to get, I put in and it's saying it was giving results for white British. So I said, also, what are the population for white English? And it gave me the answer, then delete it. I was like, hang on, what's going on here? But even at white British, you'll see like Luton, 35%, London, 37%, white British. And literally, I nearly fell off my chair. I could not believe it and how bad. That's decades in the making. That's not overnight. That's decades. So all our governments literally are making us the minority in our own country. And when you're looking, a lot of them were like 40 or whatever, but a lot were below 50%. And I was like, this is unreal. And I thought, yeah, I'm definitely doing a video about it now. I'm waiting for it all to come up saying I'm racist or something. But mate, I did not understand like how ridiculously, I mean, you have to go and watch the video if you're watching this in the chat or whatever. But I think I put population percentages for the white British. But mate, London being like 37% or something it was, I was shocked, mate. Absolutely shocked. But yeah, that's all our governments over decades doing that to us. So it proves
it's pretty shocking.
Legal and illegal migration, isn't it? They're both as bad.
Yeah.
I'll see if instead of guessing, let me bring up my little bit that I had I've done.
I just don't see how Ant Middleton can win if that's the case. Like, how does he even?
That's what I mean. It's shocking. It's like,
votes?
What can you do about that? Luton 35%, and it was London 37%, Birmingham 43%, Manchester 49%. I did put some in there to, you know, like Sunderland is 93% white British, and I said in my video maybe like what is 90% our sort of level. You know, is that where it should be? It should not be below any 90% or 85%. I mean, where do we put what should be white British? What should the percentage ideally be? Because loads are like 60, 70s, but quite a few are below 50 or even in the 50 mark. Even Coventry's 43%, Leicester 36%. I mean, how much do we say should be white British? I mean, what do you think, Mo? Should it be like, as a rule, we should be aiming for 90%, 85% in these areas, or in the UK as a whole?
Personally, I think I don't stand with the ethno-nationalist argument, like in the purest sense. I think, like, ideally, I'd say, obviously, we all agree that a majority of England should be English, but what does that actually mean? Personally, I believe it should be 90%. And what I mean by that is 90% comprises of people who have some form of English ancestry. So they could be 25% English, 50% English, but some of the Steve Law types, the ethno-nats, they want purebloods, as in 95, 99% born to English parents, English blood, tracing back to your grandparents and, you know, DNA and all that. That's a bit too extreme. But I think, you know, if you have a trace of English DNA in you, I think that's fine. But obviously, there's so many things to balance out with that as well, like the education system and everything, and raising, you know, standard of living. There's so much that goes into it. And the problem with the ethno-nationalist argument is, like, that leaves out people who are mixed race, people who are adopted, people like me. You know, I invest so much time into actually trying my best to deliver the solutions to help this country, save this country, help the people in this country, and fight for this country. And there's a place for me. There's a place for people who like Ben Habib, who was, you know, born in a foreign country, but, you know, there's a place for everybody. But that purist, blood of the soil, ethno-nat sentiment, I think it's just, it's too radical. I think radical change, of course, is necessary, but only relative to the change that, like the drastic change that's been happening across the decades, and it's been orchestrated by Tony Blair. So we have to reverse everything that has happened ever since Tony Blair got into power, but not overhaul everything and restore everything back to how it was back in the 1940s. That's way too extreme. At least if you do it all of a sudden, that can be within a short time period. That can change everything.
It's not going to work. Yeah, it won't work.
A lot of things.
Yeah.
Okay, right. We'll open up the thingy. The 51st state has just become a Silver Wizard member, so thank you very much. 51st state. 50...
Is that my mate?
What I'm thinking, Electro. That's your mate, isn't it?
51st dates now it in, but yeah. That's what I thought you said.
51st state.
Yeah.
Thanks for becoming a Silver Wizard, mate. I really appreciate the support, and it'd be good to have you here and in chat. Become part of the Wizardians. Yes, I'm saying Wizardians. The chat has won. I kept saying be part of the Wiz fam, and they kept saying no, Wizardians. So we're Wizardians. You win, chat wins. I bow. I give up on the Wiz fam. Right. Wizardians. It's like every Muslim is a bad person. It's ridiculous. How many times have we said that, Paul? That it's not. We're talking about Islam. You do it every time, every single time. You're like, you start straw manning and. But yes, I'll put the link in the chat if you want to come up. I mean, there's no time limit unless other people want to come up, and then we'll have to sort of swat some people over or whatever. But you know, if we got 4 or 5 of you up on stream, well, another 2 of you, that'd be ideal.
Wait,
anything you want to ask? No.
Last week. You did that call in. That was really good. There was that Muslim lad. Yeah,
Bobby.
I can't remember. Bobby, yeah. He was born in Luton or something. Born and raised in Luton.
Yes.
Him and I can definitely have a good chat, because he described like his experience in London, having that kind of cultural barrier of like not really fitting in. I actually felt that as well, being in London. London's it's a peculiar place, really peculiar place. It's
right. We've got
Bobby's good.
Got Ace
Bobby's a good
in the
man.
Chat. Yeah, I liked Bobby. I was trying to say to him, look, understand, I'm talking to you like about Islam, not you as a Muslim and that. And he was more than happy. And we had a good sort of like head-to-head sort of discussion, but you know, him trying to sort of beat around the bush about the Prophet and the age of
Yeah, I mean,
Aisha and
healthy
that.
disagreement. Healthy disagreement.
was,
That's
yeah.
what you need.
And I respected that, and I thought that's brilliant. So yeah, it was all happy days. But yeah, we've got Ace. Good news, bad news. She was on the other day as well. Let's get her up. She's very, very intelligent, mate. She does history and politics, and like she was on Paul Thorpe last night. I was supposed to go up myself, but he said there was about 5 people waiting, so I didn't bother. And he actually emailed me, WhatsApped me, and said, "Oh, come up on the show and that. Here's the link and that." But there's so many people, and I take my pills at 9. So by about 10 o'clock, and I still haven't been up, I thought I can't talk now. I'm gonna. Do you know what I mean? But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, let's give it a big, whopping great intro for AC Rooney. I say that because that's my grandson's name. Sorry. How are you, Ace?
Yeah, not bad, Wiz. How are you doing today?
I'm living the dream. I've taken me meds, so I think I'm still sane.
Loving life, loving it. Brilliant. What's
So
this?
I wouldn't say I'm loving life, but
What's this thing to do with the college? And what's that noise I can hear?
That's the dog snoring.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yes, I've got a little Chihuahua that lives here, and
Oh,
yeah,
lovely.
it snores.
Oh,
and
speaking about chihuahuas, did you hear about they're on the ban list that's going to be introduced?
Shut up.
67 breeds are up for being banned, and the chihuahua's on it.
yeah,
As is
No
the
way.
corgi.
look at
Yep,
it.
as is the corgi,
here,
the
here,
pincer, the
here.
Rottweiler,
Wait.
the King Charles Spaniel. I mean, some of the breeds that are on there are absolutely ridiculous. The British Bulldog, the Newfoundland. I mean, I'm a massive dog lover. Newfoundlands are not vicious in any way whatsoever. Oh, look at that face. Oh, what's his name?
It's got
Her
no
name?
grunt.
So cute.
His name's Grunt.
Grunt.
Grunt. He's constantly grunting, aren't you, mate? Breast stinks,
Aw.
but he's lovely. Yeah, I woke him up.
He's very
Too
cute.
noisy. Yeah.
But yeah,
I've got
I was-
Helen.
I was,
Helen in the background. Should we bring Helen up as well? Michael's trying to get in there, but something's going on with his camera. But we'll bring Helen up as well. So there's 5 of us. There's a crew of us. So
Hey,
yeah,
Helen.
go
How
with
you
the flow
doing?
there, so-
Hiya.
Helen Crystals, is it? Is that Helen
Yeah,
Crystals?
yeah.
Hello, Ducky. All right.
I'm
Hey,
all right.
Alan.
How are you lot?
Oh, I ain't got to moan.
Living the
I do
dream.
this.
sparkly.
Yeah.
Sparkly.
I ain't got to grumble. Otherwise, they call me a moaning old git if I grumble. So,
Yeah, well,
Yep.
we all do it.
yeah.
So I think Ace, you come up first. So what is it we shall be discussing, or what is it you want to say, or what do you want us to discuss?
Well, I was actually kind of curious as to what was mentioned about the college. What was that that Cherry was talking about? Has anyone got any clues about that? What
I think it's to do
Jackie
with.
said?
I think Richard and Rogue are talking to Vindicator along with Paul Burgess. Now we know that Paul Burgess isn't that much of a well, anyway. From what Moes said, listen to what Moes said about that. So yeah, apparently they're talking to Vindicator Strikes Back at the moment. Vindicator Strikes Back is more of a vindictive strike back.
Yeah, I've been on his channel once. I think I was subscribed to him for maybe 5 or 6 hours, and then I unsubscribed pretty quickly. I've
Yeah.
seen someone else in the chat said the exact same thing.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I've
so,
noticed him mostly spending his time slandering other people, like Moes said. Like, there's no need for it. We're all trying to get
Yeah.
involved in a conversation and have, debates and, open up our thought processes as to what we think is and isn't acceptable. Just going on slandering people isn't going to help the situation at all. So
No.
yeah, I
right.
unsubscribed from him pretty quick. But I was just
Cool.
curious as to what it was that the
Yeah.
conversation that happened.
Yeah. There you go, Claire Bear. Yeah, what Michelangelo's mentioned there.
Yeah.
That was the other mod that I was talking about. It just picked her out of, out of his chat comments, and then just started. I basically just rolled my mouse cursor over the thing, and I could see the subtitles, and they were there. Yeah, calling her out.
Yeah, I don't know what was said though. I haven't watched it, so I can't comment. I don't
Well,
know.
I mean,
Anyone in chat
no, the
watch it?
live interview is still happening. It's still it's still on live and on Vindicator's channel.
Yeah.
But I guess what they're probably the conversation probably is gonna revolve around is just they're gonna be talking about the rot inside of Advanced UK's college, and the culture inside is toxic, and etc. etc.
Yeah, I can't quite work Richie and Rogue out at the moment. I've watched one or two of their streams. I can't quite work out what the angle is. I don't, you know what I mean? I don't.
I mean, I've seen Shoab come on Baraka's show, and he's kind of distanced himself from Richard and Rogue.
Yeah.
I kind of noticed that as well. It seems maybe he thinks that I'm actually thinking of bringing Shoab onto my channel for an interview, because he messaged me, but he's on queue at the moment.
Who's
Shoab? Shoab Sohail.
What's his relationship?
He's like a friend of Paul Thorpe and Richard Inman.
Oh,
I think he was born in Saudi Arabia or something, but he's a patriot of this country.
Was he on Paul's show last night? Was he on Paul's show last night?
I didn't watch Paul's show last night.
Oh yeah,
well,
I
he's
was
always
on
on
Paul's show last night. Yeah, there was a Sikh guy who really spoke very, very well. And he made quite a lot of valid points. I didn't know if that's who you were talking about.
Oh no, Shoab's not Sikh, no.
Oh, okay.
Sikh guy. Oh, what? Harman Singh Kapoor? But yeah, probably.
No. I think it was called. Was he Ra or something like that? His name was.
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah, that's the one. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Not heard.
I mean, just to go back to what.
But going back to the college, I feel like I'm kind of a bit sus about Richard and Rogue.
Right.
They might have been kind of jealous that other people got into the candidacy, because it's not just them who are in charge of Advanced UK Wales at the time. Like, they may have been leaders, but I don't know. It's a bit complicated.
Yeah,
there's obviously been clashes in there, hasn't there? And Ben said that he felt it was a personality clash thing going on. And I think it all happened when Richard Thompson was put in place, and I think he was trying to realign some stuff and sort some stuff out. And
the thing is, Wales
a bit, I think.
The thing is, Wales operates so differently from England. Like the pace in which their elections goes, I think it's understandable for there to be conflict of interest. And I mean, Rogue did say that the communication with Advanced UK was kind of horrendous. But I guess, like, how can you communicate easily between England and Wales? Like, there's so many factors.
There's this thing, Mo. There's this thing called the interwebs. Like how we're all talking right now.
Yeah.
I don't think it was handled well. I think Rich and Rogue are good people, and I think there was a mix-up in the whole way it was handled, and I don't think that necessarily means anyone's a bad person.
Yeah.
It cross wires and what have you. And they obviously weren't fair to Rich and Rogue, communication-wise. But I suspect Rich has
but we haven't heard from
to reorganize, and
we haven't heard from their story. We haven't heard from Richard Thompson. We haven't heard that side of the story, so we don't know.
No.
Yeah, there are two sides to every coin. Yep.
And I think there's a lot going on in the background that we don't know about.
Yeah, I mean, well, it's a brand new structure, isn't it? Really, the college. So maybe we need certain rules placed in there so people can follow those particular guidelines and stuff. So as don't end up with these problems, such as having a decent internet connection, which is probably what Paul Berger had an issue with. I mean, if he's joining StreamYards, or if he's joining that Microsoft one, Zoom meetings, we could hardly make head and tail of him when it was first, for first half an hour. It would just kept freezing and stuff, and then so obviously that need to be a thing, I suppose. I also think as well, I don't know if Wizard's going to mention this to him on Thursday. Is it Thursday you've got him on, Paul Burgess? Sorry, not Paul Burgess, other one.
Nick Buckley.
Nick Buckley, there you go.
I've not heard back from him yet, but I've offered him Wednesday and Thursday as possibles for 7 o'clock. But yeah, I've not heard back from him yet. It might end up, he might choose one of the 1 o'clock time slots. I said whatever's suitable, but hopefully
I'd like to put the idea to him to become the leader of the college. The leader of Advance, if he's up for it. You know what I mean? I've explained it anyway in messages to you, but I'll just make it public now. I think Nick Buckley would make a good leader of Advance UK if he's up for it, and then we can see what the what Restore Britain reckon to that. You know what I mean? Because then we haven't got a half Pakistani guy in charge of Advance UK, which is what their issue seems to be for some unknown reason. Well, we know the reason, obviously, but yeah.
Just seen the message that's popped up, that Wizards popped on the screen for you guys, about Lubna closing her channel. That is such a shame.
Again, is she?
Yep. She's looking at
it.
It's just been constant. She said, like, after that bloke come around being, in that white car, they got him on CCTV and that. And she's saying, like, some YouTubers have even been, like, stabbed or killed or whatever. And she said, as a single mum with a couple of kids, it's just not worth the risk. So she,
I believe she's already closed it. I don't see any content.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not being funny. Like, I've said I'm due to start a channel. I was considering, doing a face channel like you guys have got your faces on your channels.
Yeah.
But I've been following Lubna for, well, pretty much a couple of months after she started the channel. I've been on loads of her lives. She's absolutely lovely. And seeing what she's been through, like, firsthand, it's genuinely put the fear of God in me that someone's only got to recognize my face when I'm down the shop and call a bunch of people. If they don't like what I'm saying, I'm not going to know who they are or where they're coming from. They know my face. I don't know their face. And that's the only thing I'm genuinely worried about with starting a channel. I mean, is that something you guys don't worry about? Or do you...
Well, I'm beautiful, me. I'm lovely. I'm no for a laugh. I mean, I did get worried the other day when we had, what was his name, Danny on, but I've had no knocks on the door, thank goodness. Because I did actually reveal my second name, my surname on that right at the beginning. But yeah, so, I was slightly dubious about that, but no, everything's been fine. And besides, I don't say anything really bad about them,
Yeah, that's why I've said I won't release my name on my platform. I'll only be going by Ace because I don't want people knowing my name.
Yeah, there's that.
I wasn't christened the Wiz. That's part of my...
Wear a beard. Wear a beard.
Yeah, obviously.
wear a beard disguise. Wear a beard disguise like Wiz does. He unstraps that, I've seen him before camera comes on and he unstraps it, takes his glasses off, you know what I mean? And he dresses up like one of them
completely different person.
like one of them
clean shaven, I'm bald. This is all fake hair, it's all part of the image.
Yeah.
But, I've got my hat on. I suppose I've got my hair cut like last week, and I hate having my hair cut. I only have the back and side shaved, but I just hate it. And I've got this on now because I woke up. I must have laid funny because my hair's like gone like Wolverine. It's only about that long, but it's right up. I'm like, I don't quick beanie. But
you look like Rogue. Did you look like Rogue from Richie and Rogue? It gets everywhere, doesn't it?
I need to sort it out. I need to get it cut, but yeah, I will do, and then I'll have it all plaited for the stream. Because when I get it cut, the first thing that my daughter does, I'll do the French plait, so it's all cushy. So I wear it for like one stream, then I take it out, and then it's all like curled, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh, by one of them, like what some of the apostates do. What's his name? I can see his face. Can't think of his name now. But he wears
Apostate
like
prophet.
no, not him. He comes out full glory. He does. The guy who wears a mask on him is Australian.
Oh,
Dynamite.
yeah, I know.
Not Dynamite.
Dingo.
That's yeah.
Dingo
Cyberpunk
something.
Dingo.
Yeah, I know the guy you mean.
Cyberpunk Dingo.
Yeah.
Cyberpunk Dingo.
That's
Just
the
get
one.
an expensive mask like that or something, and put that over you or something like that, Dress yourself up as a little Labubu or something.
You shouldn't
I
have
don't
to,
know.
though.
No, I know you shouldn't.
Yeah, this is the thing. We shouldn't
Yeah.
have to. Like,
we
this is the
shouldn't
21st century,
Yeah.
Yeah, your point of view is going to get you murdered. Like, really? Is that where we're at? I mean, it's pathetic. I don't know what.
That's why I was saying. That's why I said in chat that Islamophobia needs to be renamed to Islamotrauma because it's causing more trauma than it is phobia. And phobia is an irrational fear. I'm sorry, but as a gay female, there's nothing irrational about being scared about Islam.
No.
There's nothing irrational about that. Like, if I was in Palestine, I'd be thrown off of a roof. So I don't see that as irrational.
Look, if you're in Manchester, probably get thrown off a roof in Manchester.
Chase
down
what
the Fabian Orwellians one.
Yeah.
Paul's admitting that he wears no issue.
You can guarantee if one of those riders had a Union Jack on their back, they would have been straight off of that horse. You can guarantee it.
Yeah,
harassment, alarm, and distress.
Yeah.
They'd have had police horses in there chasing them down.
You want some kind of stinger or something like that, that removes horseshoes as the horse is galloping down road. Instead of puncturing tire, it's
not fair on the horses, though.
No.
They're just animals that are being forced to cooperate in human insanity. So,
I
feel sorry for the entire animal kingdom.
Yeah.
Poor animals. Where did they even get those horses in the first place?
God knows.
Horse shop. Arabian horse shop.
As someone who used to sell horses, it's not hard.
No.
It's easy enough to buy a horse.
Do they have to do a blessing before they get on the horse?
Don't know.
Did they what?
You'll be like, mate, get off your high horse.
Get off your high horse.
Yeah, you look unstable. Hey, what you on about?
Where are you getting these from? Where are you getting these from? Have you got cracker jokes or
on your
other window or something?
Complete horseshit jokes
from God. They're quality jokes, right? No, I'm not horsing around. There's no horseplay.
Jokes.
Yeah, well, you could even tell that the horses were slightly pissed off because they had a long face.
One long face.
Ba-bum.
Ride a long face.
Yeah.
See, that's how you end a conversation, Richard. I don't know why I have you up, mate.
What?
you say a horse long face, and the whole conversation just stopped dead.
Well, yes, because we've run out of horse jokes now. That was the bottom of the barrel.
I'm holding Helen back. She's coming for you. She's trying to get up into Moes screen and cross to you, mate.
So what else have we got then about this week's news? I know it's been a bit stagnant, but yeah.
I'm trying. Michael's in the back end, but he's not got a camera on or nothing, so I'm keeping an eye on it. It did come up, but then it disappeared. So it's Michael. Yes. Oh, hello. No, he's back. He's back because Michael, like you see in the chat, he's always more about the solutions rather than moaning about it. What's the solutions? And it makes sense because it's got to be spoke about. So. Michael, I can see you in the back. If you're all ready to come up, give us a thumbs up if you can hear me and say, yeah, we can. Right, happy days. There we go. There he is. There's Michael. He likes to go jump Eiffel Tower and all sorts.
Hi, Michael.
Nutter. Hey, How are you, Michael? You good?
Hi, Michael.
I'm fine. Yeah. Good afternoon, folks. What a beautiful day here it is in Ireland, and
yes, it's a nice day here.
We're gardening like mad, and but yes. So let's just. I mean, I'm all about solutions. But you first, in order to find solutions, you've first got to understand the problem, right? What is the problem? and you always got to look at the data. Don't do your own opinion. What I mean, you're entitled to your opinion, but a lot of people's opinions are just a figment of their imagination. So whatever opinion you have to back it up with data, right? I mean, it's a scientific method. But so the problem for this archipelago of islands, I mean, you can say the whole of the West. There's the Five Eyes nations, which are Canada, the USA, Australia, New Zealand, and the UK. These are known as the Five Eyes nations. Well, in those Five Eyes nations, the one thing that is very, very clear, because all you have to do is just look at the law, look at the law and the data, is that people of European descent are being displaced and replaced in those areas, right? And so Europeans are we're less than 8% of the world's population, and we occupy about 6% of the world's land, right? So that's who we are, right? And so this
that's the point.
So
that's
this
the point I made on Paul Thorpe's show last night. Sorry.
Okay, sorry.
Yes,
sorry,
I watched it.
But anyway, so let me finish. So this archipelago of islands, known as the British Isles, which is the ancestral homeland of the English, the Irish, and the Scottish Welsh people. These are ancient peoples, right? Particularly the Celts. And so these islands, we're not part of Europe. We're kind of off the extreme kind of west coast of Europe, and we're off the kind of the extreme east of the Atlantic Ocean, but we're an archipelago of islands, and this is the only place in the world that we can honestly call home, even though over centuries we've been displaced all over the world in order to steal the land from indigenous people and create these false nations of the USA, Canada, and Australia and New Zealand. These are propositional nations that were created by the international money power. So there was no British Empire, right? The British Empire was a company, a registered company, and it was called the British East India Company. And that's what the British Empire was. It was a banker's empire. So it wasn't the British Empire. So, but if you look at the data, if you look at the law, Moes, who's not a European, he's actually more protected in England now than an Englishman. And that's it. That's what the data tells us. And he knows that. Peace be upon him. But he can stay here. But you have to, that's why you got to go to my vision, my 25-point plan, which is for the sake of all nations of the world. And as far as I know, it's the only vision and plan that has now received a 9.5 out of 10 rating by AI, because the US vision and plan, the UN vision and plan, and the European vision and plan doesn't get such a high rate. You can put your vision and plan through AI and it will come up with what it's worth. Well, mine gets 9.5 out of 10, and I'm still working on it, and it's down to about 35,000 words at the moment. And so hopefully soon I'll get a book on it, because my plan is about love, truth, and better ideas for the sake of all nations of the world.
Will this translate all right to the Islamists?
Well, you have to understand that Islam was invited into Europe. Okay, it didn't force its way into Europe. It was invited into Europe by Fabian socialists, and the purpose of Islam, right from its very beginning, has been to be a broom in order to sweep through Christendom, and that's what it's effectively done over 1,500 years, and it doesn't retreat. And so you have to understand what Islam is, but more importantly, you've got to figure out who's pushing the broom. All right, Islam is not pushing the broom. All right, there's another entity pushing the broom.
I'm sorry, but the Christianic Crusades don't place that as the position at all. The reason the Christianic Crusades occurred was because Islam was invading Europe. Period.
Yeah, that's right, but you got to think who's pushing Islam. And it goes back 4,000 years.
The people following the religion. Islam's only 1,400 years old.
That's right, but the people who are pushing it started about 4,000 years ago. And this stuff is known in academia, which is why I recommend those 4 books. If you can read those 4 books, they're good. They're all introductions to the subject, right? So academia knows this, but because the political class, the academy, and the religions they've all been captured. They've all been captured. So they gatekeep truth. Right. So that's the purpose of the political class, mainstream media, and the academy, is to gatekeep truth. So the whole story of history is not, it's not being given to you. The real story, which is in academia, it is in the historical record, okay, but it's not mainstream. The BBC aren't going to do an article. I mean, the BBC, I've worked in mainstream media. The BBC was created to get Britain into the Second World War, right? So the BBC is the enemy of truth, right? And I've been in and out of wars for 16 years of my life, right? So I've spent a lot of time in wars in Southeast Asia, Eastern Europe, and East Africa. So I've seen all that bleeding to death and the screaming children and the starving children and whatever. None of this stuff. And once again, you go back to the data, you go back to the historical record. All wars are bankers' wars, because that's what the historical record tells us. That's what the data tells us. So you've got to look at, if you look at DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion, right, which is really an IED. It's an improvised explosive device. Any civilization that embraces DEI, and the only civilizations
will die.
Well, it'll literally be.
Should be called DIE.
Well, that's the purpose of DEI, is to destroy your nation. DEI is only being forced upon the Five Eyes nations and the European nations. It's only been forced upon the West, okay? Yeah. And so in DEI, the only demographic that's not included in DEI are straight white men. Okay, that's the fact, right? So you have to look at DEI. And so the only group that are being displaced and replaced by DEI are straight white men. If you're a homosexual man, or you're a man that converts to Islam, or you're a man with some mental health issues that thinks
a box tick,
there's a place for you. So there's only a place for you as a white man if you become a Muslim, you say that you're a woman now, or you can't get in there because DEI, there's no place for you. There's a place for Moes, right? He's allowed in. There's a place for the lady here, okay? But they don't want straight white men in the system, all right? And most of my activism, 90% of it, is with serving military and police officers, and I've been doing that for 8 years, and also retired policemen, and so morale is very, very low because they know, and lots of them have children. They know that their job now is primarily to shepherd in the collapse of this civilization, and they know that they themselves, if they mention any of this stuff, they themselves will be displaced. And so we have to look at what is a nation. So we have to, because nations are natural. Tribalism is deeply natural. Okay, deeply natural, and that's what they like in 1848. They said the Fabians, when they were created in 1848, they said that they would destroy the nation, the religion, and the family in order to bring about, and they would do it incrementally over decades and generations in order to bring about a one world order socialist dictatorship. And if you read Henry Kissinger's last book, that one world socialist dictatorship, that one world order socialist dictatorship will be held together by a corporate technocracy, which is Silicon Valley. And after I got out of wars, I spent 7 years of my life living in Silicon Valley. People don't realize that Silicon Valley is primarily a private contractor for the intelligence community. The reason why they gave you a mobile phone, the primary reason why they gave you a mobile phone, is because it's a tracking device. So there's such a high level of ignorance in so-called nationalism. And remember, nationalism has always been a plaything for the intelligence community. That's why it's unable to unite. It'll always be divided. And so we have to look at what the agenda is and how do we fix these nations on these islands. But if nationalism not only has to be about us, right, but it has to be for all nations of the world, because all nations of the world are under attack.
Well, we're hopefully going to get someone in to get rid of this ECHR bull, so as we can.
Yeah, absolutely. And the thing you described about DEI, I had to kind of look into the history of communism to actually unpack this whole DEI thing. What it basically is, it started off in academia in the United States, in America, and it sprung forth this really kind of ugly, kind of innovative form of communism or Marxism, which is called neo-Marxism, and it kind of has the same characteristics as historically what communism is. It's, you know, they claim that they want everyone to be equal. There's this egalitarianism outcomes, but what it was back in the 20th century was that these communist countries, they wanted to level out the playing field between the bourgeois and the proletariat. So the rich ones, the ones who had money, and those without. So, you know, the custodians of land, the farmers who were just emerged out of the feudalist system. But what it actually turned out was the intentions of these Marxists was they tried to fuel their resentment for the bourgeois, their resentment for people who were wealthy, people who had private land, who had private assets, and they wanted to share it with the society as a whole, and to just throw out, you know, privatization and everything. But what we're seeing right now with DEI, with this neo-Marxist sentiment, is that there's a resentment towards the straight white male. They're at the pinnacle. They're at the top of the hierarchy, the chain. You know, the Muslims, the feminists, and these ethnic minorities or minority representative identities that they keep jostling about amongst each other, but they all agree that the straight white male is at the top, who is controlling everything. That's why they bring in terms like white privilege and everything. White people are privileged due to their immutable characteristics, and, you know, they control all of society, and they want to dismantle that. So it's not really, you know, people who are sympathetic towards diversity inclusion, you know, the lefties, they're not actually sympathetic towards the poor or the ethnic minorities or the feminists, you know, women or whatever ethnic minority. They're resentful towards straight white males. And this is a pattern that is echoed throughout the decades and decades of Marxism. So Marxism has evolved. Marxism has changed. It's changed into this new beast that is neo-Marxism and DEI. It's really quite pernicious. These people are really pernicious. Really
It's
pernicious.
another way of attacking the family unit of the native countries. That's the way I see it personally.
Yeah.
Because if they can destroy the family unit, that's the native population gone.
Yeah. Not only that, but they're also, you know, they're also in a melting pot, aren't they, of the Greens and well, them being like communists, and now the Muslims are, you know.
Yeah, they're using weapons at their disposal to dismantle everything that is associated with the straight white male, associated with the top of the hierarchy, and that's why they're trying to destroy the family unit. I mean, why do you think women were brought into the workplace in the first place? So they don't.
Well, that was
spend as much
actually
time at home.
that was actually due to World War II, because all the men were
Yeah,
out of the
of course.
country. Women were forced to work, otherwise all of our industry would have collapsed.
But do you think this is all planned? It's like intentionally orchestrated.
It's all
Well, I mean, you could argue yes, you could argue no. We're never going to know. We can only hypothesize. But I think Michael had a point because he kept raising his hand.
Yeah. I mean, it's the whole feminist thing is interesting. There's so many angry women going around, you know, holding these refugees welcome signs and turning up on all these pro-Palestinian. Well, a lot of these women are traumatized. A lot of these women have had their own children murdered in the womb by abortion, right? So there's an awful lot of women that have been denied the greatest joy, that maternal instinct, you know, holding your own children, right? I mean, if I have children. My children are my greatest achievement. But so many women were brainwashed and socially engineered, as were the men, into thinking that abortion is a woman's choice. And so many of these women are now waking up that they literally had their own children murdered in the womb. And because that's all abortion is. Abortion is murder. And it's
okay. Michael,
and this is the real thing.
Can I ask what your opinion would be on someone who's been raped and has ended up pregnant and as a result of that rape? Because that's how I came into the world.
Yeah, that's
And
fine.
I honestly wish that my mother, my birth mother, had had an abortion, because the internal feelings that I have to live with every time I hear the word rape, I feel like an insult to every single woman out there that has ever been raped. I understand why my mum abused me as a child, because I was a physical reminder of the thing that was done to her, and that was in her face every single day. So, you know, I agree with what you're saying, but in some instances, abortion should be a consideration for
in
people
those
that have been
in
raped.
those. I think there is a place for it in those instances, like incest and rape. You know, that's a woman's choice for sure. And I think there's certainly a place for it, but it is murder. I mean, you're obviously a healthy woman. You're a result of a rape, and sadly, there's an awful lot of people walking around today where their mothers actually didn't want to have sex that night, but their husbands kind of forced themselves on it, and they got pregnant. So,
I was the result of a rape like that before abortion was legal. My mum was going to have me adopted.
Yeah, a woman should only
I'm actually adopted myself, so yeah.
Yeah, no, this is
she
real
couldn't
stuff.
go through with it, and she changed her mind after I was born.
Bless her heart. Bless her heart.
I'm very lucky because she loved me, and there's no
it.
bad feeling for me around it.
Exactly.
I think it's
for me. Rape.
Everyone's different.
I think abortion.
That's true.
Abuse of children or rape of a woman. To me, that's a capital offence. All right, that there is no, for me, that's you either spend the rest of your life in prison or you should be executed. That's how I feel about rape. And I mean, to me, it's the worst crime. Rape is even worse than murder. I mean, it's just the worst crime. And anything of abuse of children is like that.
Yeah,
so,
obviously, with rape, it'd be, you know, fine, you know.
So these women, these angry women that have gone through the abortion, because most people who do abort their children, they're healthy children, all right, and or they weren't as because of rape. It was just that it's been used as a birth control, but a lot of women are now made up. There's a wonderful Jewish man made a wonderful documentary called "Silent Scream." And he actually aborted thousands of children, and then he woke up and he made that documentary. If that documentary was shown in every high school, I think we'd have a different conversation about abortion. But it's a very important documentary. No, but these traumatized women have now been weaponized because they're now they can no longer have children. They're too old. They've been clubbing and having a wonderful time. That feminism promised them that they'd all be, wealthy and independent, but now they're stuck at home and all they've got is Netflix and a bottle of wine and maybe a cat, and so they're angry, and so their maternal instinct is against the white guy. So they've got to, refugees welcome, and so it's all clever stuff, but so that's why things like biological Leninism, you've got to study that and see how shameless opportunists or ignorant people or people with mental health issues are weaponized and are being incorporated into that broom that is sweeping our civilization to one side.
Yeah,
so I think that's the real. I mean, it's real.
Yeah, I think abortions have got so commonplace nowadays. Well, I don't think, I know that they're just doing dances about it on TikTok nowadays.
Yeah, it's murder. It's murder. That's what it's murder.
Yeah, this is what I don't understand about like ethno-nationalists, like Steve Laws. Like, why aren't they coming out and advocating for abortion to be outlawed? I mean, you literally have generations of English, children with English blood who are being murdered. You're supposed to be safeguarding and kind of nurturing the English race, yet you're witnessing the deaths of hundreds of thousands of children who probably are English. It is quite horrific. It is quite horrific, but a lot of people don't understand as well, like the illustration of what actually happens.
It's also to dilute the human race.
Especially the ones that actually happen up until birth. they use these like surgical
Oh,
tongs, and then they
It's
it's
wrong.
so it's so horrific.
so wrong.
Yeah, but abortion is an
I've
industry.
seen it.
It's
I've
an
seen an
industry.
animation of it.
Yeah,
It's really
but
horrible.
it's an not it has. I mean, it's got a. If you look at the
It's an
esoteric
industry.
aspect
Yeah,
of it,
it's an industry.
but there's an esoteric aspect of it that abortion, like war, is a blood sacrifice. So once you understand there's an esoteric aspect behind the central banks, and so abortion and war and the killing of people in war, which is perpetual. There's always about 30 to 35 armed conflicts where there's a daily body count going on in the world at any time. So I've been to lots of them, but so there has to be this perpetual blood sacrifice. And abortion is also an industry because a fetus has a value. That child that has been murdered, regardless of its size, and now they're trying to make it legal so that you can murder a child in the womb one day before it's expected to be born.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
Yeah, but this is part of the blood sacrifice. But it's also worth more when it's a fully formed child. It's so you have to look at the industry. And for every abortion in the United States, $400 is taken out of the taxpayers. So it's an incredible amount of money. That's the abortion industry is a massive industry. And of course the pro-life movement is also gatekeeping the truth. And so people like Steve Laws, his purpose, and I don't know if he's a player for the intelligence community, but he's allowed to exist with his opinions because his purpose is to fracture the right. He's got some good ideas, but he's going about it the wrong way. He understands what a nation is, but we can't fix this immediately. We have to fix it over a generation, but we also have to be honest that all these countries that these people are being dumped in Europe are coming from are run by the same people that run our countries, right? They're the same people. Africa is not run by the African people. Not one nation in Africa is run by a representation of the good, the wise, and the virtuous African people. None of them. All right.
Burkina Faso.
Burkina Faso is saying some interesting things. And the Ghana, I'm in touch with the president's office in Ghana. Okay. So there's a lot of brilliant men and women in Africa that are very, very good. Many of them get killed or they end up in exile. But Burkina Faso is saying some good stuff because Nigeria is at least 4 countries. There's not one country in Africa that had its borders determined by the African people. All of the borders were determined in allegiance with the central bankers, all of them. So
we've only got to look at the north of Africa. It is not normal for borders of countries to be straight lines. That says a lot.
So
it's like in World War One, they literally stuck a ruler on the map and they just drew lines.
That's right.
That's literally what happened.
Pikes-Seacoast agreement and all that stuff. Yeah, so that's so you have to understand, and that's all there's about 650 main ethnic groups of the world, which can be subdivided into thousands, but there's about 650 main ones that can all kind of come under one umbrella. So there's about 650 countries. And so in my 25-point plan on mccarthyplan.com, I kind of go into some of that, but not maybe on the website. It's a terrible website. I'm not a techie, but I got 35,000 words trying to explain it. But all that stuff went through AI, and that's where I got my 9.5 out of 10. So nationalism, so I want to debate with people what is a nation, and then how do you best preserve it? How do you best strengthen it? How do you best defend it, not only for the sake of itself, but all nations of the world? Because nationalism, when it's correctly understood and presented, is fundamental for world peace and a cleaner natural environment. If you're serious about peace, and that's it really.
Would you agree that Japan, the way that Japan are running their country, might be a way forward for European countries and also possibly America?
Yeah, Japan. I was based in Japan for 6 months. I covered wars for NHK TV in Southeast Asia, particularly in Laos and in Burma. So I know a little bit about Japan. And I love Japan. I got on very well in Japan. And well, Japan's it's an ethno-state. That's a nation. An ethno-state is a nation. It's in the word nation, right? So that's what a nation is. A nation is a genetic cluster. And of course, within that cluster, you're going to have kind of mixed ethnic people or mixed racial people, but that's kind of taken care of in my vision and my plan. So, but most nations still exist. There's 40 million Kurdish people, right? But they're not allowed a country. The Kurdish people don't have a nation, and so Japan is good. I mean, there's a little bit of division in with ethnicity in Japan. Some Japanese are more Japanese than the others, but in Japan, when I lived in Tokyo, I had a base in Tokyo for 6 months, and there are clubs in Tokyo that say Japanese people only. Like, you can't go in there, and it's not that they hate you. It's just that they want a whole evening where they can have a laugh and a joke and mess around with just Japanese people. And Japanese people are wonderful. I had a great time there. But when you're in Japan, you become Japanese, right? You can't. You just have to be You have to respect the local culture. And no, Japan's amazing. It's a very high culture. But it's
I agree with what you're. I agree with what you're saying, Michael. But the problem is that the people that come to Europe, they're coming from nations, countries, whatever word you want to use, that just they do not look at things the same way that we do at all.
Which is why they shouldn't be here. But they didn't come here voluntarily. They were forced here. They were given the red carpet treatment. They were invited here. Okay, they weren't forced it. You know, the British military, literally a patrol could take care of the cross-channel migration. And any war historian will tell you that immigration is warfare by other means. The British government could very, very easily take not one rubber boat would even leave the beaches of France. That could be literally a handful of people could take care of that with a laptop. Literally, I mean,
They have been doing, and now they're getting fined for it.
But they're not allowed to do it because the purpose of the political class of the UK is to destroy the UK.
Yeah.
That's their purpose. I worked for a US congressman and a presidential candidate for 2 years. So I know a little bit about what goes on behind the curtain. And, I've worked for also as a private contractor. I've done a lot of stuff, just not all on the battlefield, a lot of it in the world of surveillance and close protection. And when you work in the world of surveillance and close protection, you see the world from behind the curtain. Okay. And so politics is theater. It's well scripted theater. You won't believe how deep and a lot of these politicians are either assets of the intelligence. Well, they're all assets of the intelligence community. A lot of them are compromised. A lot of them are just shameless opportunists. And a lot of them are just, it's so easy to control a small group of people with all the techniques, the same techniques that they've been using for 4,000 years. And so,
have you heard of the Georgia Stones?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe that's where the control is coming from, because it seems very odd that the countries that, worldwide have historically been able to hold themselves up and sustain their populations, their civilizations, their culture, so on, they're the countries that are under the severest attack. Because they're the biggest danger to the New World Order. Yeah,
because nationalism is the strongest political movement there is. But sadly, nationalism has been misdirected and it's been turned into kind of a racist supremacist ideology. Whereas genuine nationalism has to be about love, truth, and better ideas, not only for your nation, but all nations of the world. And in order that all nations of the world can become genuinely symbiotic, because we need to, because regardless of your philosophical, religious, or political views, if you study the work of geological economists, and they've been crying out since the 1920s, the future of humanity is a post-industrial world, right? Because and that's why I tell everyone you need to read the book Blip by Christopher Clugston, because it's a kind of a brief, and it's an idiot's guide to the work of geological economists. It's a very important book. So the so-called elites, they know this. They know exactly what they need to do. They need to mass depopulate the human that they have. Or if you look at the work,
the Georgia Stones mentioned that the population needed to be reduced by around 7 to 6 billion people.
Yeah, well, and it's not
6 to 7 billion people. That's like 3/4 of the world's population.
Yeah, you could actually. Well, that's why you got to read Blip. I think the numbers we can sustain this amount of people. It might be better if we reduce them, but we have to do it incrementally over decades and generations, which we can do. But you have to look at our industrial material world is unsustainable. It's unsustainable. And so to think that we can fix it with solar power and wind power and nuclear power is a joke. Everybody in those industries, and I know people in all three industries, they know that nuclear power, wind power, solar power is a joke. It's no way can you sustain an industrialized society with those things at all. You've got to realize what we have coming, and we can't stop it. It's inevitable. What is, the living systems of the planet are in decline, species die off, all of this stuff is going on. These are real things. And so that's why nationalism, and that's my vision, to end all wars of aggression between nations forever, and that all nations become good stewards of the natural environment of their nation forever, right? And if you agree to that, then you have to figure out, well, what is a nation and how do we best preserve it, strengthen it, and defend it for the sake of itself and all nations of the world? Because we've got a lot of work to do to literally clean up this place and put it back. And we can do it, but we have to eliminate the threat of wars of aggressions between all nations. And there's a lot to look forward to, but you have to understand that nationalism is the way that you divide and conquer a nation. That's why the Greeks rejected it, right? And if you read Aristotle, there's only three ways that you can govern a nation, right? There's democracy, there's oligarchy, and there's monarchy, right? And communism is oligarchy. Communism is about capitalism without the competition. So, and that's all communism is. It's oligarchy. And what we're living under in the West today, and have been for a long, long time, we've been living under oligarchy for centuries, according to the historical record.
So how do we get out of the hands of the oligarchs?
Well, you
hang a lot of them.
Well,
just hang them all. Problem solved.
Not at all.
Rinse them dry.
Nobody needs to get hurt. You just have to understand how the system works, and then you have to learn how to isolate and restrain the warmongers, the secret societies, and the criminals. That's all you got to do. You have to learn how to isolate and restrain the warmongers, the secret societies, and the criminals within every nation. Because the reason
how do you do that though, when they make finding themselves so very, very much impossible? Like, we don't know who's controlling the world. No one knows who's pulling the strings. No one. We can hypothesize, sure.
No. You got to look at, once again, you don't have a conspiracy theory. Do conspiracy analysis. You have to. It's well known in the military. It's well known. Everyone knows that all wars are bankers' wars. Why? Because that's what the historical record and contemporary data tell us. Right? I was a pilot. I was a commercial pilot on the day of 9/11, living in Mountain View, California. I haven't flown airplanes since 2008, 2009, I think. But anyway, so I am an FAA commercial pilot on rotary, on helicopters, and multi-engine fixed-wing airplanes. So I was a pilot on the day of 9/11, living in Mountain View, California. And on that day, by the middle of the afternoon, I knew that the official narrative of 9/11 was a hoax. It was the greatest hoax of the 21st century until COVID came along. But 9/11, I mean, it's so easily to be torn apart, but it shows how at the top end, it's all coordinated, because not one government in the world said that 9/11, the official narrative, was the hoax of the 21st century, which any university with a physics department, any airplane crash investigator can tell you. And I know,
even the designer of the Twin Towers himself turned around and stated the way that building came down was a demolition job. If that had collapsed due to a plane flying into it the way it did, it wouldn't have collapsed in the same manner. And that's the designer of the buildings himself.
Yeah, they were the most overbuilt buildings in the history of architecture. It's impossible to burn down a steel framed building, right? It can burn for days, and many of them have, but they don't fall down. And so, and back in 1986, I jumped off the Empire State Building with a parachute. And the guy that walked between the Twin Towers, a guy called Philip Petit, he contacted me after I got arrested on Fifth Avenue. And I know a little bit about buildings. So I studied the Twin Towers, and Philippe became my friend, and he did
Is
an
that the
incredible
French guy?
Yeah, he walked
was
between the Twin
the
Towers.
spider.
Yeah, he did. No, he walked between the Twin Towers on a tightrope a few years before my Empire State Building jump. But those buildings were so overbuilt. Why? Because there are 5 major airports around New York. And in the late 1940s, an aeroplane got lost in the fog and it flew into the Empire State Building. It was a United States Air Force airplane. And
Really?
it just hit the building and fell to the streets below. A few people were killed. But it didn't go into the building because you can't, no matter how hard you hit a building, like the Twin Towers, you can't fly a building that weighs over an airplane, a Boeing 767 or a 757 weighs over 100 tons, right? So there should be 400 tons of wreckage somewhere in 200 tons in New York, 100 tons at the Pentagon, and 100 tons in Shanksville. Okay. Well, there's no wreckage. There should be over 400 tons of Boeing wreckage. Where's the wreckage? Where's the wreckage? So so let's not get down that rabbit hole because it's the greatest.
No, let's not.
Yeah, that is a very big rabbit hole.
Because there was never, ever, ever a criminal investigation of 9/11. There has never been a criminal investigation of 9/11. None.
What's very odd about 9/11, there's 2 particular things that stuck out for me. The first one was that not a single building in Manhattan had terrorist insurance before 9/11, yet the Twin Towers had terrorist insurance taken out against them 2 months before 9/11. And on the day of 9/11, Bush was reading a book to a bunch of children. The book was upside down. So he wasn't reading the book, but the words that the children were told to repeat was steel, steel, kite, building, and there was another one. And if you go, you can find the clip on YouTube. I watched it not long ago, but I can't. There was 4 words, and I'm sorry, but if you hear those 4 words and then you look at the context of 9/11, sorry, but why were those children reading those 4 words out loud? It all seems very odd.
That's why you got to look into the esoteric aspect. It's all predictive programming, and so they put these things out there. They put it in all the movies, all the broadcasts, and they're really mocking you because if you if you let them get away with it on the supernatural level, you've basically given them permission. So that's why when you study esoteric Hollywood and mainstream media, the deep dark forces that are the architects and the controllers of these things. So it's 9/11 it's for a lot of people it is the wake up call. But I woke up at the age of 9, so I've been studying it since I was 9.
When we started this stream, Mo mentioned that we're not allowed to talk about Islam and things like that, right? At the time was on 9/11. Okay, there you go. So you see anything you want to see. All right. I'm unsure about 9/11, but I mean, we're not going to find any plane wreckage because it was made from aluminium, but there is melt relatively quickly. And
there is photographic evidence of bin Laden quite literally working for the CIA. There is photographic evidence of bin Laden standing with top CIA officials. You can Google it.
Really?
My niece worked for Chase Manhattan.
He was on their payroll
at that time.
You can Google the burn temperature of aluminium and what kind of heat. And see, office furniture and carpets, it doesn't get hot enough to burn aluminium or to distort steel.
Kerosene which is what they use in planes.
You've got the chimney effect, you see. So when you wanted to start a fire, you always take the draft off, don't you? You know the draft door. You take the draft door off so as you can have a fire on top, and it roars and it gets to a hotter temperature. So as your coal can start burning quickly. And I think you've got exactly the same thing there on, you know, in the Twin Towers. You know, the draft is going to come up straight up any stairwells, things like that. It's going to feed the fire. That's going to act as a chimney, and like that's how you get to your melting temperature of steel.
Where did the
it is quite strange. No, it is quite strange how it. It is quite strange how it went down so quickly. I mean, it just escalated from what 0 to 100 in about 10 seconds.
They were more than likely built to be demolished. Don't forget, these people plan things generations ahead of time. They plan these things centuries ahead of time.
Or to orchestrate the Arab Springs.
Whatever.
And that's how it all started.
See, 9/11 was a computer crime. It was a financial crime. It was a social engineering exercise. It was a crime against humanity. It was all of these things. But yeah, it's like, well, yes, there's a friend of mine. If you go on BitChute, a guy called Alexander Baker. If you go on to BitChute, he got thrown off YouTube, but he's a special effects person in Hollywood, and he's also a music producer. Alexander Baker, good guy, and but anyway, he did a 10-part series. It's on BitChute, I think, and just put in Ace Baker, ACE Baker, Ace Baker, and just watch his 10-part series. So they made a lot of mistakes on 9/11, and he exposes all the mistakes they made. But it's interesting, and but it's once again, it's another distraction. What we need to focus on. How do we end all these wars, and how do we save all these nations? Because all these nations have been captured by the same international money power. And so
indeed,
all of them.
You see, the College of Advanced UK would be a government run by the people. I don't think you can infiltrate that so easily.
Well, it has to be informed people. It has to be educated and informed people. Sadly, most of them.
But you know, I mean, even George Stephenson, he was uneducated, yet he triggered the Industrial Revolution of the Victorian age, didn't he? You know, there are of us who haven't got qualifications, but we're good. You know, either with you know, some kind of autism somewhere on the spectrum. I am a bit. I'm not saying that I'm good, but I am a bit. I was very good at science and stuff like that. You know, unfortunately, they made me write a essay. For 75% of my points, otherwise I would have got O level, because my essay ended up being one paragraph, which was useless. But in the multiple choice questions, I got 98% with that. Out of 50 questions. I even remember I got wrong.
Yeah, you're a high functioning autistic person.
Yeah.
Which is, you know, Silicon Valley is 70%.
Yeah.
Mostly, I mean, I lived there for 7 years, but they reckon. Silicon Valley is about 70% of the people in Silicon Valley in the tech industry.
Yeah, they are.
Are high functioning autistic people.
Yeah. You see, and then I went on to teach myself how to repair televisions, taught myself binary, binary electronics and everything. Yeah, I've got nothing under my belt really. That's only experience in the world.
Yeah,
really.
You're highly intelligent, so you have if you have a good imagination, then you're also going to be
very good imagination. Yeah,
then
thought things up and stuff. Yeah, thought things up and that.
You'll be very good with analysis. But when so in academia, when you're doing real analysis, you can't have an axe to grind. You just have to follow the evidence, right? You can't. So that's why in the college you have to look at the evidence and you have to think, well, what is you have to bet what is the best way to preserve, strengthen, and defend a nation based on evidence, right? Based on evidence. And that's what you've got to do. But then you've got to think, well, what is a nation? So you have to, what is a nation? And if you think that a nation is a multicultural, multi-religious, multiracial, and multi-degeneracy society, that you don't have any data to back that up. Because that does not make a nation, and it certainly doesn't preserve it, strengthen it, or defend it. So if you're still kind of wrapped up in that idea of that maybe if we can all get along, it'll all work out. Well, you won't all get along, and you'll become a house built on sand, and you'll be removed. from the,
Yeah.
and that's all.
Well, no,
that's
that's but that's the utopia vision of the new world order of the globalists, to make everyone just intermingle together, no matter
that's
what
what they're
culture we
no,
have,
no,
what
that-
background we come from.
no,
It's,
they,
it's,
no,
it's,
they-
I think it's devilish. It really is
no,
devilish.
no, because they know that's what they're telling you. That's what they're telling you. But the only way they can hold that utopian ideal together is with a social credit score, right? Which is designed the social credit score that's rolled out. And I used to lunch at Google, so I got friends at Google. Google's a lovely place to have lunch, by the way. And but Google, everything that's going on in China is from Silicon Valley. So your social credit score, your central bank digital currencies, it's all Silicon Valley, right? So they have the social credit score in China, and the Han Chinese are the largest ethnic group on earth. But they have, and my friend was the Mandarin teacher to the two owners of Google. So I hung out with a lot of Han Chinese when I was in Silicon Valley. But so the only way they can hold this together is by a social credit score, facial recognition, digital ID, all of that's so it's a technocratic.
Well, yeah. So that would be sponsored by Google, obviously, because it's a massive software venture, isn't it?
Yeah, but so see, Silicon Valley is a private contractor for the intelligence community, and the intelligence community, and I've worked as a private contractor in that world. The intelligence community, whether it be for the Five Eyes nations, all of them are integrated. Mossad, CIA, MI5, MI6, Canada, they're all integrated, right? They're all integrated, but they primarily serve the central banks. The job of the intelligence community is not to serve the nation, but to serve the intelligence, the central banking cartel. That's what they are, because everything and nothing goes through the cabinet of any of these nations without the approval of the central banks, right? So when the cabinet gets together, the City of London is there, right? The City of London is represented at all the UK cabinet meetings at 10 Downing Street, right? So that's it. I mean, I have friends in that world, so I don't hate any of these people, right? I love all these people, right? Those amongst you without sin, throw the first stone, right? So I don't hate any of these people. Peace be upon them. But we somehow have to figure out with unity around reality how we can restrain them and identify them. Just restrain.
So back to the college structure again. You see, I mean, you mentioned there, but you're going to get some people who are aren't that intelligent and like put answers questions up or whatever, or think they've got a solution. But if we've heard of like that solution, then we're able to filter that through. And then it wouldn't end up to the higher echelons of the college. Now, if it is a good idea, we think it's a good idea, then we can, put it up into the higher echelons of the college, and then they can toss it around and come up with a policy, and then that'll end up in government.
Yeah, the college is a brilliant idea, because the college, see, a nation should have an aristocracy.
Correct.
Because the purpose, Britain doesn't have a genuine aristocracy and hasn't had for centuries. Yeah. If you look at the purpose of an aristocracy, and I sent this information to Moes and to Wiz, if you look at what an aristocracy is, its purpose is to maintain the head, whether it be a prime minister, a president, or we have the House of Lords, right? So they're supposed to be but they're not a genuine aristocracy. They've all been captured as well, and they were captured centuries ago. But if an aristocracy is the neck of the head, right? So the purpose of the aristocracy is to keep the head facing in the right direction, right? So that's your kind of the Knights of the Round Table should be your aristocracy, and that's what the college should be. The college should be made up of English, Irish, Scottish, and Welsh people.
That's exactly what it is. And
that's all. Right. And that's all it should be, because they're the only ethnic groups that are being displaced and replaced. Right. And these are their ancestral homelands. But that aristocracy, that college, should not be hateful at all. They should have nothing but love for all the other people of the world. Right. They should be founded on love, truth, and better ideas. And their job is to make sure their head is facing in the right direction
Correct,
towards
yeah.
love, truth, and better ideas, and
Yeah.
that's it. But I'd love to sit at one of these gatherings with the college and to see what they're really made of, because
Yeah.
my sense of it, looking into it, is they don't really know what's going on, and they certainly don't have any solution. But I agree with the model. I agree with the model. Yeah.
With the college, can you guys like maybe give me a bit of a overall on what that's supposed to entail? Because I'm not quite sure that I've maybe understood what I've read.
Yeah. Well, it is explained on the advanceuk.org website, but yeah, I can give you a general.
Okay, go ahead, Richard. Sorry. Go ahead, Richard.
So like our forum here at the moment, right? We're able to like bring up your answers, your ideas, your questions to the college. We've got WhatsApp groups and all sorts. We've got general communication straight to like other college members and stuff. So we're able to put your ideas up there. So it's basically a public run government, if you like. So then the college will like make policies and things like that, and your idea would get thrown around in the policy making ideas and then brought up as a policy, if it's any good, in the college, right, in order to make it become so in government, or
Okay,
so you're
and
right.
the college's college members. So the college members are the mediators between us, the members, and the leadership. So the leadership composes of Ben Habib, the leader, and obviously the executives. So the executives control, the regional branches and everything. But the college members, it's very easy to contact them. But as members, we should be actually talking to each other, especially, social media content creators like Wiz, Electro, and myself. We have communication with certain college members. I message with some of the college members back and forth from time to time and offer feedback. You can channel your feedback through the college members.
It's very easy.
You can give suggestions. You can give complaints. You can tell Ben Habib that he's not fit to be leader if you want. And yeah, that's
I still see that as being
college.
I still see that as being very infiltratable. I don't know how else to word it.
No, the college members have to keep each other in check. Yeah, the college member keep
the members
each other in check.
Hold the college accountable, and they hold themselves accountable as well.
So if someone's not working out properly, I mean, we've had a few left, but we're unsure about the background of that. I mean, obviously the college is a brand new structure, and we need to really, there might be some teething problems in there at the moment that
and
might need
to
to be
there
addressed.
needs a lot more members for it to work properly.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Right, we got Dr. Jake. Jake
can I jump?
Porter has
I'm
joined
going to
us.
leave
Sorry,
now.
Michael.
Okay, Michael.
Okay.
Bye, Michael.
I'm going to say bye-bye. But
Okay,
just quickly,
see you, Michael.
Before I go, I noticed in the chat, just on my position on Zionism, right? People don't understand that Zionism is the so-called Zionist state, the modern state of Israel, was created in order to be a forward firing base for the city of London, right? It was never intended to be a Jewish homeland. It was meant to be a homeland for the Jews, because if it was a Jewish homeland, it would be following the law of Moses. So I'm very, very much, I'm a nationalist for all nations. So I'm very much a nationalist for the Jewish people, right? Because it is their land. That's their land. And every Muslim knows this. So it is their land, but it's only their land. It has to follow the law of Moses. That's the deal, right? And so I'm very much a Jewish nationalist, and also because on my mother's side, I'm very Irish on my father's side, but on my mother's side, I've got Ashkenazi and Sephardic Jewish genetics. So I'm kind of, between these 6'7" kind of guy. And so I'm because I'm primarily, because you if you look at even in Japan, you can't be a Japanese citizen unless your father is Japanese. So I believe that you best belong. You don't have to live there, but you best belong to the nation of your father's bloodline. That's why I'm in Ireland. Okay.
Right.
But
it doesn't run like that for Judaism, though. It runs through the matriarchy, not the patriarchy.
Well, that's why we've got to have another chat about what is Judaism. So the original Abrahamic faith, if you study it, because don't forget, rabbinical Judaism, Islam, and Christianity went off in another direction. But if you read the prophets, if you're like Jeremiah, people like Isaiah, and Yeshua, or people call him Jesus, and Jesus wasn't trying to start a new religion. He was trying to bring his people back to the original Abrahamic faith. And if you read what Jeremiah was stoned to death by his own people because he was trying to do the same thing, bring them back to the original Abrahamic faith. Isaiah was literally sawn in half by his own people for doing the same thing. And if you read what he was trying to say, so the original Abrahamic faith was meant for all people. If you study it, it was meant for all people, but one group of people was to be the light unto the world, to show them how to live and how to live in peace with the rest of the world. So how to be symbiotic. So, I'm very much a Jewish nationalist, but not in the way, Zionism is really just a safe house for organized crime. It's a private military lab. I mean, it's a center of LGBT, and I mean, but they're most beautiful. I have great Jewish friends. I have friends who are in a number of wars in Israel, and the Jewish people are wonderful people, like all people. Every ethnic group has so beautiful people in it, but sadly, a lot of ethnic groups are represented by the worst of their people. They're not being represented by the best of the people. But believe me, the original Abrahamic faith is a beautiful thing, and it's meant for all people. Anyway, so shalom. I've got to go. I've got loads of stuff to do. So,
all right. Cheers.
No worries.
Thank
no
you.
worries. Cheers,
Yeah,
Michael.
Michael.
Thank you very much.
See you, Michael.
Cheers, mate.
Bye.
Cheers,
I love
mate.
you.
Bye.
He loves us all. He said.
Right, I was going to say we got it says doctor. I was like, ooh, and I looked up his name in the
Hey,
chat. And I'm like,
Jake.
does it say doctor? And it doesn't. But so firstly, Jake, doctor of what, may I ask? And obviously, take the mic, mate. Take the mic. And thank you for joining us.
Thank you
Hey,
very much.
Jake, by the way.
And hello, Ace. It's good to see you again.
Yeah, long time no talk, buddy.
Yes, no, it's great to see. I'm glad that we've had this opportunity. And hello to Helen, who I've seen in various chats recently. It's nice to be able to see you and be able to speak to you.
Hi, Jake.
Yes, I am a doctor. Well, I haven't actually been awarded it yet, as I still need to finish my Viva to actually qualify. But to all intents and purposes, yes, I am. I'm a doctor of philosophy at the University of East Anglia, and my specialist field is literature and cultural history. So I was very interested
Very
in
knowledgeable man.
Michael just now, because there were a number of things that I would like to have pushed back on, because I think that when you say things such as, and this is what I would suggest to all people in the chat as well, just because somebody says something like everybody knows, that doesn't mean that it's true. Just because somebody says they've done some research and read it, that doesn't mean that it's true either. What you need to do is provide the actual evidence from where you've come from, and that gives you a much more stronger basis for you to then base your argument upon. And I would just like to say, as somebody that was there on October the 7th, water skiing, that I know exactly what it's like living in Israel. No, I'm joking. That's what this chap was doing. Every single point, as I was listening, I was just laughing because I kept thinking, what is he going to say next? And then when he got to parachuting from the top of the Empire State Building, well, that really got me in. I thought, we really are talking to an expert here. So it's a shame he's gone, because I'd really like to have found out a bit more. But it's really good to...
When you joined, I thought when you joined, I thought, oh, good, because you'll be able to push back. Because a lot of what he says, I'll be honest, is out of my comfort zone. I think Ace and yourself might have more to push back on. Maybe Helen and Guardian and Mo does as well.
I
But
certainly
not
had
that
a
we can
lot to
get a
push
word
back on
in.
with Islam.
You can't get a word in though, so you
That's
just
the
I
know.
mean,
that is,
he's very, he's in his conviction. I mean, once he starts, I mean, he's off. But I mean, it's
Yeah.
personal
And he's
to listen
obviously
to
a
him.
very knowledgeable guy.
But-
I mean, yeah.
He is.
It's
He did have a
difficult for
photo
me.
up of him jumping off. I think it was Eiffel Tower or Empire State
Yeah.
Building. He's got a photo of him actually jumping off it. That's what his photo is. And I was like, wow, and that's what he done to help deal with the PTSD when he was obviously in the army, etc. So that I was like, that's just nuts, mate, absolutely nuts. But yeah, I mean, if you lot can, what he said, if you remember what he was discussing, it was anything you
Well,
want to say now that is,
yes.
to push back on
Yeah.
it, then yeah, please do. I mean,
I
I know
would-
nothing. I know
I
nothing.
begin with elites, to be honest. That's the best place to start, because I think in order for there to have been a conspiracy lasting several hundred years of an elite group of people, then there would be evidence that would show that. There'd be paperwork that would show minutes of meetings, for example. There isn't any. I've tried to look for years and years to see how far up the chain you can go, and you reach a certain point where there's no evidence whatsoever. And at that point, you're dealing with what they would call Chatham House rules, which is where what is said behind closed doors is meant to remain behind closed doors. So I'm not saying that there are not small groups that meet and organise things, but I would say that there is not one single group that organises and orchestrates everything. And these groups are not fixed. There's not a permanent council that exists that we can identify anyway. What we would have instead is sort of revolving cast of actors who fit into various different roles, such as finance would be one area, culture would be another, politics would be another. And so they sort of intermingle. And the people that would be really running things at the top would be the asset holders, people like Larry Fink, for example.
Yeah, follow the money.
There are people who are behind those that we don't necessarily know about. They're not ones that are publicly well known. And that's how you know that they're an apex elite, because you haven't heard of them. If you have heard from them, they're not an apex elite. It's that simple. So Bill Gates, for example, is an excellent one, who we all know as an elite. Elon Musk, another one. But they're not the apex elites. They're not the ones making decisions. Now, one thing that the gentleman said that I think is absolutely right is those elites are terrified of populism, because government is the one thing that can actually stop any long-term planning that they have. So for us here in the UK, for example, we've got our parliament, which can overturn anything and put in place its own rules. So the worst thing for the apex elites, as far as they exist, is to have somebody like Rupert Lowe come in, who's going to try and dismantle a system that they've been put in place ever since. It begins with the end of the Second World War, but really since the 1970s, the plans really then came into place for this globalist agenda that we have now, which then really came into force in the 1990s. And at this point in time, it's reached the end of its life as a sort of industrial cycle. And what we're in at the minute is very much a transition period. And
Hopefully, yeah.
Hopefully. What should have happened in 2008, when there was the financial crash, is historically what would have happened there would have been a reset of society or an economic system. But what happened instead is that the banking system decided that it was better to keep the system running and keep it stable than to try and reset it. And then, of course, they forced all of the cost downwards onto us, which is why we've been getting relatively poorer ever since. And so that didn't happen, and that started off a loss of legitimacy for these people. And when we look at the Prime Minister today, I don't think I've ever in my life ever seen someone so hated and so inefficient as that man who is in charge. He's got to go. We've got to really.
I don't know. I don't think he's considered where he's going to live once his seat has finished.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
because he's not going to be welcome here. He's going to get publicly lynched.
Yeah, gated community somewhere, I'd imagine.
Yeah, a gated community somewhere abroad. He's just another one who's part of that circle that is I wouldn't say led by, but one of the leaders is obviously Tony Blair, and people who are his peers. They're the people who are really giving the orders to the likes of Starmer. I mean, I understand that Blair was furious with Starmer for not going along with the Iran campaign. But I think one thing that Starmer's definitely doing that really infuriates me is the way that he's completely undermining democratic decisions. Like, for example, wanting to get closer to the EU when there was a democratic decision. I don't care which side you voted for. There was a result, and that result should be respected. I think if things don't improve, if we don't start putting our own culture and our own values first, then I think we are going to end up losing our country. There's a very real risk of that. I don't think that the threat of Islam is quite as extreme as it is made out to be in the not the mainstream media, in the alternative media. I definitely think that it is a very serious threat and it needs to be dealt with immediately. And I think that the way to do that is through legislation, because you can't outright ban any system of belief. So you have to legislate it and try and make things more difficult to operate in, unlike the total freedom that they have at the minute, which we saw last week in Manchester, where you had vigilantes riding on horseback. I mean, it's absolutely shocking. So I think we've got to do that. If we don't manage to do it, then I genuinely think the only hope that we'll have is that we'll just have to go and beg to the Americans and ask them to make us a 51st state, because there's no other way we'll be able to get out of it. And it's our own fault, because we've essentially killed ourselves with kindness, because after World War II, the consensus was that nations form empires, empires are evil, like the Nazis. Therefore, we'll dismantle the empires. We'll then go about dismantling the national border system so that we can allow free movement, we can allow money to move much more quickly. And then to underpin that, they brought in things such as human rights, which were originally designed, like I say, for the end of World War II. They weren't designed for a bunch of people coming from the Middle East who were pretending they're asylum seekers. That's not how it worked at all. So I think that really has come from, that isn't elites who are behind that. I think that is the political system miscalculated the amount of migration they allowed in, and that really, if there is any justice in the world, those people should face a court trial at some point.
So I disagree with the point you made there. I disagree with the point you made there about it being our fault when we were constantly asking for less and less immigration, yet government kept pushing more and more immigration on us.
Yeah, every single people have voted against mass migration. Every single manifesto released since the Second World War.
Now we're fed up with it.
Yeah.
Something's going to happen.
And I think that's the straw.
Politically, obviously. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think this is what has really broken the system. I think financial crisis woke people up, but the migration system is just so unacceptable to so many people that it's really, that is the end point, and the most sort of visual sign of that, and the visual sign of the state that we're in, is unfortunately the Islamic community, who, let's be honest, haven't helped themselves at all. We don't hear from the moderate ones. We're told that they exist, but where are they? And
I've heard from one. I've heard from one moderate Muslim, and her channel's had to close because of the threats that she's faced, and it's disgusting.
Yeah.
They just don't.
But the problem for me with Islam and the whole moderates thing is the fact that World War II and the Nazis, all the moderate Germans were irrelevant.
Yeah.
It's the same situation.
Scared them into being irrelevant.
Situation.
You
only need
a minority. You only need a minority of extremists and people with
the radicals
deranged, nefarious
control the
intentions
moderates.
to ruin a civilization. So,
the problem is with Islam is when they're a minority, what they have learned how to do is play the role of victim and play the grievance narrative. We've seen that with the Palestinian community since the 1960s. That's their entire modus operandi. But I think that is now being put and spread outwards into the Islamic community. They're now saying that they're the victims. So when people go into, say, Whitechapel and say a criticism of their religion, they see that as persecution. Now, the reason that they do that is because that then justifies them to attack, because they will feel that they are under attack. And one thing I really would suggest to anyone who is in the chat or anyone who's on the stage is that if you don't know much about Islam, then watch what ex-Muslims have to say about it, and you will find what it's really like. Because what you tend to get presented by Muslims is they'll present you one side that sounds really good, like chain of history for our books, so it must be true and all this kind of stuff. But you then actually see that it is a series of layers, and each layer you get to see, you find there are more and more things that you think, hang on a second, this isn't right. And that's because it's, the way I see it is, it's like a completely different operating system, and it's completely incompatible with the one.
It's a different moral system. They don't operate on the same morals as Christianity. No. I mean, the Prophet Muhammad had sex with a 6-year-old and consummated the marriage when she was 9. Like, obviously this happened 1,000 years ago, but they still look up to the Prophet Muhammad and claim that he's the whole savior of the Islamic world.
And of course,
that's the way they should be living now.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
of
exactly.
course,
Yeah.
because they've been brought up with that kind of belief, they can't see anything wrong with it, you know, because they're stuck in the 700th century, isn't it?
Yeah, you're exactly right. And the problem with that is it makes their identity fuse with their beliefs, so they can't separate them. And that is really dangerous because they act as the ummah, you know, they act as one community, which is why if you attack one, you'll find that there are then 50 come round the corner and then will attack you. That's just how they.
It's like a mob. It's the mob mentality. Yeah.
Yeah.
They
Not only
operate
that,
like a mob. They're
not only that, but
they
you've got
operate
your,
like the communists.
yeah,
They
but
are a mob.
you've got your jizya that you've got to pay for them. Basically, they're the mafia. You know what I mean? You've got this jizya you've got to pay for them. Otherwise,
I mean, everywhere that Islam goes, the sword follows, doesn't it? I mean, we've
Yeah.
seen it in Spain. It took them what 800 years to relinquish the Islamic invasion of Iberia, and it's just their modus operandi is through conquest and domination and trampling on bullying other civilizations, other religions. That's why they persecute the Jews and persecute Christians.
I'd heard somewhere that Islam translates as submission.
Yes, that's
it
correct.
does. It's literally the
Yeah, it
translation
does.
of
Yeah,
the word.
submit to submit.
The irony in the sort of paradox of that is that yes, they are supposed to submit, but their entire modus operandi is to dominate. So there's a very strange paradox that comes with that. And I think that if we look, as quite rightly just been said, you know, we see these problems not just here, across Europe, in the Middle East, in Africa, in these states. So I think it's obvious what the problem is. As long as that book exists, people are going to interpret it in ways that are violent because the words have violence in them. Yeah,
right.
I know he's read the book because he was talking about it the other day. We all know that, is it the sword verse, I think it is, where it says about killing the non-believers.
Kill the disbelievers wherever you may find them.
Wiz will probably be able to recite
Sahih Muslim 2922 is one where it's a stone will call to a Muslim saying, "Muslim, come here. There's a Jew hiding behind me." But there's a certain tree that won't call the Muslim because that tree belongs to the goy, it's just absolutely absurd.
You can't say things like that without putting it in the right context and reading it in the original Arabic.
Well, I don't know how you're supposed to interpret it any other way.
Stuff like that.
How do you interpret
the stuff like that is open
them?
to direct interpretation. It's open to people who are naive.
As is the ones about
to interpret it.
Rape, for example. You know, we don't hear about that over here. We don't hear about the domestic abuse that takes place in the Muslim household, the gender segregation that's happening right under our noses.
Yeah,
and slavery as well. Slavery goes on.
Yeah,
in
it's
Islamic
just been
countries.
legalized in Afghanistan.
Yep.
Yeah, and now
Taliban have just legalized it.
Yeah,
nothing
they did.
said in the media.
Yeah, they did.
Yep.
They did, and you'll have idiots here who will go out on protests who will support that and say that it's for influence.
Use the communists as well, Marxists.
Yeah. But that's not a recent thing, though. Actually, that's something that has always been there. I mean, if you look at the PLO, when they were founded, they were actually working together with the Soviets on that one. So it's not unusual. And we saw it in Iran as well, where, of course, the leftists then got put up against a wall and shot as soon as
79.
Yeah,
Iran 79. Yeah, I keep anybody supporting the Islamic invasion. I say, well, go and have a look at who's a lefty. You know, I say to them, go and have a look what happened in 1979 in Iran. You know, I mean, 2 weeks later they're out protesting because of freedom of speech or something. You know, so they're shooting themselves in the foot.
Yeah,
especially the Greens who shoot themselves in the foot. They're ridiculous.
It isn't just here. It's
guys, I have to cut in. I have to leave.
Right.
All right, Mo.
All right, Mo.
I've got stuff to do. All right.
Cheers, Mo.
Cheers, buddy. Appreciate it.
Take it easy, Mo.
See
you next Monday. We'll do a stream next Monday, yeah? And
definitely, mate.
I've got a day off on Tuesday as well, so we talk about Madeleine McCann if you want.
Okay. Yes, can do, mate.
Wasn't she mentioned in the files?
The Maddie scandal.
Who's brought up Madeleine McCann? Who's brought up Madeleine McCann?
Mo
No,
did.
Yeah,
he
I
won't
re- I
have
read
you
some of
on
the
Tuesday.
files.
Don't bring Electra Doc on Tuesday.
I'm not coming on now. I'll
No.
be somewhere else.
Right.
All right, I'll see you next week. See you guys.
See ya.
See you
Yeah,
guys.
all right,
Have a
mate.
good
Take it
one,
easy,
mate.
mate. Take it easy,
All
Right,
mate.
see ya. Take care.
And I was just going to say, the thing as well with Muslims is when they're in the minority, they play the victim, they play the grievance narrative. But once they get into power, which they're very good at doing, they know exactly how to do it by going through the political institutions, you then find there is no minorities because everybody has to be Islamic. That is the fundamental problem that we have. And letting people get into our parliament through the back door, through DEI and things like that is really, really very dangerous. I mean, who in their right mind would put as Home Secretary somebody that says that Islam is the basis, the core of their entire life, when we've got 40,000 people on the terror watch list? I mean, surely anyone with a brain is going to work out that there's a conflict of interest there.
Correct. Yeah. Tell that to Labour.
Yeah.
That's where it seems obvious that there is more
Well,
going on in the background, isn't it?
Yeah. That's
Yeah,
the,
for sure.
Yeah. That's the
Trouble is to find out what it actually is difficult.
I don't think Zach has thought about the fact that if Greens actually win, does he honestly expect that he's still going to be head of the Greens? Does he
Dave,
honestly think
he will
that?
obviously
'Cause
find
it's
out
a
the
joke.
hard way. He'll find
Dave
out the
the
hard
Tit
way, won't he?
Whisperer.
Yeah.
Yeah, the tit whisperer.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, if he can put
Yeah.
women in trances, right, so they can grow bigger boobs or new boobs or whatever, right, then he should have a nice, relaxed word with his own teeth.
Yeah.
I heard a funny joke about communism. They want everything that's yours except your job.
Yeah.
True.
Right. Yeah.
Communism is
Chirac,
sorry.
can you stop lying? Otherwise, I'm going to get one of the mods to ban you because you're getting on my nerves. But Israel did not create ISIS, so shut up, sit down, get a job.
Yeah, that's
yeah.
not true.
I bet it was an offshoot of Al Qaeda, wasn't it?
I believe it was.
It is an offshoot of Al Qaeda, yeah, which is Sunni Muslim.
Yeah, so behave, Chirac. You get on my nerves. I can't believe what is it when people do every day? They wake up and they're like, "Oh, it's a new day, right? I need to hate on Jews. I need to hate on Jews. What can I make up?" Oh, it really bugs me. Jesus was a Jew, mate. When you die and face him, you're going to look a right idiot.
What I would say is that a lot of the people that are probably pushing out, anti-Semitism,
yeah,
they're kind of being brainwashed, and unfortunately, it's not really their fault. I know that sounds really stupid to say, but it's not their fault. They can't see the rationality that we're able to see, and I feel sorry for those people because, like Richard said, they're going to find out the hard way, and that's going to make it very difficult for them in the future from finding out the hard way to trust any other culture.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. I mean, there was so much propaganda came out as well, as soon as this kicked off in Gaza and everything, there was so much propaganda pushed out there by obviously the Islamists, etc.
But that comes down to them as being idiots, because like if you hear about something, like even now, no offense, Jake, I'm going to use an example, but if Jake says something and I'm a bit like, oh really? Oh, I don't know. Then I don't just leave it. I'm like, okay, let me look it up. And then you think, oh, this bloke's telling the truth. Oh, this bloke's actually put a twist on it because the fact is blah, blah, blah. And he said that. So for your own brain cells, you can go look things up and you don't just look for one source. You look for two or three because obviously there's always going to be contradictory. And then you come to a decision. Yeah, because when all this happened with Palestine, I was like, hang on, that didn't like add up in my head anyway with the Bibles. But I thought, let me have a look. And it's like, well, Palestine doesn't exist, right? Yeah, good. Let's see why. Oh, yes, it says in the Quran and the Bible that it's Judea and Samaria, land of the Jews, given to them by God. Right. How can all these people be out giving it all large for Palestine without bothering to look that up? It makes no sense to me. And that's why people are just talking rubbish because they're lazy. They do not want the truth.
The very spelling of Palestine is what gives it away.
Yeah.
In Arabic, there is no p. There's only f, which is a ph, not just a p. or a
Village.
PA.
So it's piss off, not piss off. Is that
Yeah,
what you're saying?
yeah, basically. So you know, if it was an Arabic word, then it would be Philistine. But
Yeah.
the Philistines were from the Aegeus, so they can't claim that they're related to the Philistines because they're not. The
Oh.
Philistines were from the Aegeus. They worshipped a sea god. And as Jake rightly pointed out, the Quran, the Gospel, and the Bible, the Old Testament, sorry, clearly states that that land belongs to Israel. Bene Israel is how it's worded in the Quran.
It was wizard, by the way.
Yeah, so a wizard, sorry, my bad. But yeah, just I don't know.
I
I
think
think
the biggest modern weapon is psychology, isn't it? I mean, they are
Oh, for
using
sure.
people's emotions against them. And
Yeah.
because most people, especially people who aren't perhaps doing as well as they'd like in life, or they're a bit insecure or whatever, they'll all harbour jealousy or and those types of emotions. And these people play on it, they use it, whether that's communism against the rich or Islam against the non-believers
world.
or whatever. But they use those emotions
Yeah,
and
they do. I think
add a
what they
bit of
do is
groupthink and the rest of it. You know, it's easy to manipulate people who have
And TikTok won't shoot it in the face like a septic horse.
it does, because what it's effectively doing is it's offering a sense of like triggering images or triggering words.
Yeah.
Because these people are conditioned by only listening to the same things over and over
And
again.
the attention spans are this long.
They've got no attention span. As soon as they hear something that affects their emotions, then they kick off immediately.
Yeah.
And you see it time and time again at protest. It's the look on their face is like they're possessed.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And to the extent they are.
Let me ask Jake and
if you know-
Ace. Can I?
Sure.
I want to ask you both the same question. Obviously, you come up onto people's streams like this all the time. Do you find that you're sat there more often than not, listening to people say, someone like me who starts then saying, "Oh, right, blah 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 blah," and you think you could not be more wrong if you tried? Do you get more of that than people that actually speak with actual genuine facts that are real? You get more like people talking rubbish, shall we say?
I think it depends where you go.
I'll let you go first, Jake. Yeah, I'd say the same. Yeah, it depends where you go. Like when I've been on Lubna's lives, I felt very welcome. The people that I've been talking to, that's how I know Jake is through Lubna's lives.
Yeah, I've seen him.
Really, informed guy, knows what he's talking about. And I've met a few other people on Lubna's stream, again, also very educated. But again, it does really depend where you go. Vindicator, classic example.
Yeah,
it can get sometimes on that channel. It can get a bit heated, particularly if you have, unsurprisingly, Muslims on there because of their different way of thinking. Then that can get like that. But I don't go on there anymore. I don't have much time for her, to be perfectly honest. I won't say why, but there is a reason behind that. Other channels, again, it depends who's on there, and it depends what channel it is. I think some people have some very good, educated, well-informed people, and I don't mean by that people who are qualified. I just mean general, ordinary people who are very well-informed. Other channels I find are more interested in getting an emotional response out of people, and that doesn't really interest me. I like to have a respectful discussion with people and talk about ideas and push back against the people when they need to. There's no need to get angry and start hurling insults at somebody.
No.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, I think, Jake, I've only ever heard you say one thing on Lubna that I did not agree with, and I was going to call in, but I think there's about 4 or 5 on screen, so I never. And that's when you said, like, and if it's not you, I apologise, but from what I remember, I think it was you that said that, I can't stand the overuse and stop using the word patriotic. Well, I thought, we need to use that. Was it you?
It was me, yeah.
I think when a saying is overused,
it wasn't
when a saying's overused, it loses its value.
Yes, I got that. But
the reason why is I wrote a piece about this recently where there's an extensive explanation. I won't say where it is because I don't want to advertise anything, but you can read it there if you want to. And the reason I don't like the word patriot is because my background, my expertise is American history. And in American history, the word patriot is an anti-British term. So it originally meant somebody who was proud of their country, but then it was adopted by the Americans. And that's the term that has been in use for a very long time over there. And so when I hear that word, I associate it with anti-British sentiment. Now, I know I'm in a minority in things, but that is why I don't like that word.
That actually makes sense, because you would have told me that if I come up. But I mean, I don't know when you said it or something. I was just like, I remember when you said that. So I'm glad it was you and I got it right. But no, that makes perfect sense. I mean, Christ, we're not here to say, oh, you're wrong or you're right or whatever. It's just interesting to see why you have that point of view.
Someone says you're wrong, you know, that's fine. People can say you're wrong as long as people can do it respectfully.
He remembers faces because throwing people out of nightclubs and stuff, and remember him week after, you see. That's why.
Yeah, I remember faces. Damn right I do.
There you go.
For example, I'm quite sure, many disagreements with Ace. But we don't ever get into slanging matches because we can talk about
that's it. That's the difference, mate. Like you say, it's about being adults. You're actually having a debate, and you know, if someone's going to then turn to insults, the argument's lost. Yeah. It's done and dusted.
And I have told people to fuck off on lives before when it's wound me up, because it gets to all of you at some point.
Yeah.
I mean, to be honest, when the guy was
stupid, can you?
No, you can't.
So is better Beeb. So is better Beeb. Because it gets to you, kind of thing. You know, it's still human. You know what I mean?
I mean, I found it difficult with a guy who was on before because he kept talking for long periods of time, and I've got narcolepsy, so I fall asleep if somebody does that because it can't keep my attention for long enough. So I have to make sure that I do things in order to go on to a live to make sure that I'm alert, if that kind of makes sense. Yeah. So again, it depends who's on there, how I would react to people, but I try to keep very calm.
Yeah. Yeah, I need to say 5 minutes. Do you know what I mean? That's how we should run it. But I mean, this is all getting people up more often. It's sort of new to me because I was waiting until my channel got to a certain size in order to do it. Because hopefully, people like you, Jake, Helen, and Ace, who are sort of more knowledgeable, I will actually guaranteed learn more from you guys, and you're going to learn from me. But then that's why I've got you up, and it's my channel, so you've got to educate me.
I wouldn't necessarily say more knowledgeable, just because I've read a few books doesn't mean that I'm any more knowledgeable than anybody else. It just means I happen to know about American history more than other people probably do, or literature probably do. So.
We all have knowledge in specific areas.
Yeah.
I
listen to things and I remember them, you know. I mean, I've read Facebook. I think that's about
I don't know nothing, and I'm always wrong because I've been married for about 25 years.
There you go.
Getting that out there right now.
My first interactions with Richard and with Jake were both disagreements.
I'm not surprised. You said that you told me you were my leftist troll or something.
Yeah.
No, you turned around and said I was Antifa.
Yeah, because you said I'm your leftist troll. I said, "Oh, were you responsible for taking the the live stream of Advance UK's 7th of February thing?" And you just laughed. I said to his background, I said, "Hey, we need to watch this Helen Crystal show. I think she's an infiltrator." And he said, "No, she seems to talk some wise words." I said, "Yeah, I've noticed that as well. But look what she said to me. And actually sent him time stamps." I said, "Oh, right, okay." But no, you're all right. You've vindicated yourself. You're fine.
Yes, Helen and I
can't imagine I ever
as well.
called you. Yeah, I can't imagine I ever called you a leftist troll though. But anyway, yeah, okay.
No,
you can't see you dressed in black. Chanting those sorts of terms. You just don't seem like that sort of lady.
With balaclava on.
Yeah, what
I think is important that is happening on this channel, on other channels, more and more is that actually ordinary people are getting their voices out there and they're letting
absolutely
speak. Yeah. And it's something that we just haven't got. There is no voice.
Yeah, and of course, your voice, if you come up with a good idea, of course, we can put that into the college as something for them to throw around and spitball around and see whether or not it becomes some kind of policy or something, you know. And that's the idea of this channel. That's why it gets college members on sometimes. We've got Nick Buckley on there later on this week. I hope you're going to ask him that question as well. Wiz, you're going to ask him that question?
Yeah,
good lad.
When's he on, Richard?
I'm not sure yet. Not sure yet. I'm waiting for him to respond. I've offered him like the Wednesday and Thursday 7 p.m.s as possible, if not one of the 1 o'clock ones, unless he's got a time of his own. So whatever suitable Mr. Nick Buckley MBE, then I will accommodate. But I will tell you though, I am at the moment we're looking at Wednesday and Thursday 7 p.m. shows, their call-ins, and the Saturday at 4 p.m. that'll be a call-in. Mo asked for a call-in this week, and I was like, yeah, let's give it a go. So with Mo's, me and Mo do whatever.
And it's Scarford.
People are calling. No, he said he had a couple of hours. So,
how do you think it's going, having the call-ins? Are you pleased with it?
Yeah, I am, because I get to meet people like Helen, yourself, and Ace, and that's what I was hoping for, to meet new people. I'm not going to go into details, but I haven't got a life. I don't actually go out, so this is my social life. But yeah, Richard, he's just like he's like one of my paintings, mate. He's just there all the time now. It's just like if there's a call in, I know he's coming up. If Mo's here, I know he's coming up.
I would love it, but be cautious, because somebody I know who's got a channel, a female, she had somebody doing things that they shouldn't be doing in the backstage. So there are lots of weirdos out there.
Oh,
so
yeah.
Talking about
be careful. No, it was Ellie.
Yeah, I'll always click the remove button or whatever. But yeah, I mean, how it's got now, like the actual discussion and how it's rolled, it's fantastic. I mean, I've got no time limit. I always look when it's me. I mean, I always say in my streams, like, all right, this is me and my verbal diarrhea. I'll go for an hour and a half, and I'm just talking away. But I mean, if people are willing to sit around for say 2.5 hours because there's more people coming up, then yeah, brilliant. And I don't want it. I know like people like Paul Thorpe, when I watch him, he has someone up, and then they go, someone come up and go. But I'd like to have more people up, because then Helen can ask you a question, Jake, and Jake could ask Ace a question. Do you know what I mean? And we can get a good old conversation.
To and fro.
Yeah. I think that's more interesting.
Due to me being somewhere on the spectrum and remembering things, you see, I'll pull people up. I don't care. I'll just say, wait a minute,
That's fine,
and then get them to clarify.
Don't you worry about that.
Yeah, get them to clarify something. But yeah,
I do think that it can be on other ones that I've been on. It can be frustrating sometimes when you have to sit and wait for ages while somebody goes on and on and on, and then you have to listen to everyone else. You feel like you've just given up the will to live by the time you get to speak next.
Yeah,
so it's good to have that interaction.
Yeah.
I think
obviously, if viewer numbers
opening statement.
Yeah, when viewer numbers starts going up, obviously you're going to get a longer and longer queue. But hopefully, other people might take this as an idea and then open it up on their channels, so they're able to communicate solid ideas and stuff.
People like Lubna, people like Wizard, people like Barak, Baraka, people like Based and Bougie. They've inspired me to set up my own channel, because this is really important that we talk about all of these subjects, because it's us.
Definitely.
We are the people, we are the authority, we are the ones that need to be having the conversations.
We are the
and
voters,
not relying on those conversations to be had for us.
We are the voters. We are the
Exactly.
voters. We want the government to do what we see fit. You know what I mean? And and it's good that this is why I'm still supporting the college. I don't care what happens. How many insults you get over racism and stuff like that. I don't care. We need to keep it open, because if people suddenly realise, wait a minute, that's gone a little bit too right wing for me, mentioning no names of the parties, etc., then they can come back and say, so what's this college business about? And then we can, hopefully give them some teachings on what the college means and what that means for your voice, the public voice.
I'm waiting and biding my time, because I think that we don't really know enough about Restore at the moment. I think dangerous to hero worship Rupert, because if he goes, then the whole project is gone. Once he's got a team in place and he's got all the policies in place, then yes, I'll consider going for him. But at the moment, there isn't anybody that I would follow, because none of them are doing anything that I would want.
So who holds Rupert to account? What happens if Rupert starts backpedaling, same as what Farage did? Then we're up shit's creek.
Yeah, I
again, aren't
just
we?
I
will.
don't see that with him though, because
No.
his message has been consistent for the last 4 or 5 years.
Yeah,
His message has been consistent. It hasn't changed. In
And I
fact, the
would
reason
also-
he was kicked out of Reform was for the same message that he's pushing for his own party.
Yeah, you're
So I don't see that personally, but
And
well,
it could happen.
I'm not
understood
far
it,
from
you
Great
know.
Yarmouth, so
Sorry, Jake.
Yeah, I'm not that far from Great Yarmouth here. Unfortunately, it's not my constituency, but it's only about 15 miles away. So you hear people from the area talk about him, and he is the real deal. He does do what he says. He genuinely does give his salary away each month.
Yeah.
And he's somebody that people are looking to and thinking, this is a bloke who has got the right idea for the country and who's actually going to do something about it. And the evidence for that is quite clear. We can see it in the grooming gang case that he's just been funding and supporting. We can see it in the way that he
that should have been set up. That should have been set up by the government, not some independent MP off of his own money. Why aren't our government doing that? Oh, I know why. It's because it's their voting bank. That's why.
Yeah, exactly. And that is why people should be in prison over that.
I've got nothing against Rupert and his policies whatsoever. You know, I just don't. I'm unsure that the party structure is different to what we've already got in power at the moment. You know, this is why I like Advance UK so much, because of this communication route.
Well, he's already stated. He's already stated he won't be taking on anyone who's currently in the political spectrum.
Yeah,
so,
well, yeah.
With that in mind, it's not going to be another Tory 2.0, which
but
is
it's all
basically Reform.
That's also the same as Advance, really. You know, it's also the same there.
I'm the same as you. I've got faith in Rupert. I think he's fantastic.
Yeah.
But I need to wait and see what happens as far as the party and anyone else around him, and you know, just
I think
wait
what
to see
Rupert's
how it
doing
plays out.
is the same as us. Like Rupert actively asked Ben not to set up a party. That's public knowledge. He asked Ben not to set up a party. Ben went ahead and did that. The reason I think Rupert asked for that is because he was Ben's a very educated guy. I've watched him debate at Oxford on things like positive discrimination. He really is a very, very educated man, and I've got total respect for that. But Rupert is very, very shrewd. I think what he's been doing is he's been waiting for the Overton window to shift enough for that his policies, what he wants to interject into society, is then actually socially wanted, so that his message isn't going to be so difficult to push because society is actively calling for that. I think what he was doing was waiting for the Overton window to shift a bit further in his direction before establishing, I'm going to set up a party, because
I agree with you.
that's what a shrewd person does.
I agree with you, and I think that I can see there's a comment written in capitals here: millions must go. Now, we all agree that millions must go, but let's be reasonable about this. How are you going to get rid of millions of people? That's the bigger question. You can't just immediately revoke citizenship and escort people out of their houses.
If you can't speak English, you need to go, or
I agree.
you need to go, or you need to be put on a mandatory course to learn English. Mandatory.
I'm wondering perhaps there could be a system where, I know the leftists won't like this because they'll say that it's two-tiered, but I wonder if we could perhaps have a system whereby we first of all recognise English as a country and as a people, which currently isn't done by law, and then people who are English get an English passport. People who are British get a British passport, and that British passport for people who are coming into the country is a probationary one, where if in that time period
I'd agree with that.
They haven't worked hard enough, they haven't contributed, then they can fuck off. But it doesn't mean, and this is where I think people would get wrong with it, would find it wrong, is it doesn't mean that people who are English have different rights to people who are British. They would have the same rights. It's just recognising that ethnicity.
Have you ever thought about joining the college, Jake?
No, I wouldn't join it because I'm not convinced by Advance, to be honest.
I see. Okay.
I like Ben, and I'm of the same opinion as Jake. I think his policies are just a bit too soft for what we need.
Yeah.
Like Wizard was looking at the numbers on his last video. Those sorts of numbers require hard policy.
Yeah.
And as
Yeah.
much as I really, really do admire and respect Ben, he is a very, very educated man. I just don't think the policies that he's going to put through are going to be hardline enough, and
Agreed.
that's just how I feel.
See, but
Yeah.
some of those numbers they're going to be integrated. Some of those numbers, you know.
Yeah.
I've got to get going, but before I go, I just want to ask Ace just very quickly.
Yeah.
You say
Sure.
it's public knowledge that Rupert told Ben not to start a party, but apparently Ben didn't think that. So how is it public knowledge? As in, I know people have said
Ben didn't think what? Sorry.
That he was told not to start a party.
Yeah.
According to people who know Ben didn't
and Ben
think
himself
that's what
it.
was said.
Yeah. Ben said that he didn't agree in a movement. The only movement he fancied was one after an early morning coffee, and then he went ahead and created Advance UK and set it up as a party. I think it was perfect for Rupert just to come and join the party. But there's
Ben
something
was
that doesn't
under
like
the
about it.
impression that Rupert was open to that.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's not
that's
Ben
what I
saying that. That's people who know Ben, I've heard say that.
But that's
and conversations I've had in WhatsApp and things.
Isn't it? It's almost as if in his head he's got the idea that Rupert's going to be his bride and he's gone out and bought the ring, but yet he hasn't bothered to ask the question. That's how I see it.
Well, they did. They did talk about it, and Ben was obviously under the impression that Rupert was open to it.
Yeah.
And they went and had dinner in January about a merger. And yet, Restore turned around and said, oh, no, that was never going to happen. Charlie said on a X that Rupert was never going to join because Advance is so unprofessional. And I heard him say that. But Rupert and Ben were meeting up discussing a merger.
Well, I would say that all of that kind of stuff really isn't very helpful to anybody. It's not going to save the country. It's not going to write the policies, and it's only going to make those people look worse in the public eye. So the sooner they sort things out and actually get on with the job, I think the better for all of us.
I mean, there's a channel called The State of Politics. If you have a look at them two and how they go on, they were calling Beige and Bougie out and stuff. Them two, and they are obviously friends
that's disgusting.
With the Sargon of Aragon, and
some of the behaviour's been awful.
Connor Tomlinson as well. They're all part of that particular group, and they've all got access into Rupert's earhole. So what was said,
Well, after the term,
we don't know what's gone on. I've got to go anyway. I've got to be somewhere.
All right, Ellen.
Now,
See you soon.
All right,
okay, Helen.
Take care.
Have a nice
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Yeah, I've come up with the term that I would like to see used more often, obviously, because I came up with it. But I think it's something that bridges the divide that we currently have in the politics between the ethnats and the civnats. Yeah. And I would put forward the term communitarian instead, by which I mean a cultural communitarian, because it's not the focus of the ethnicity is placed in the wrong area. And ethnicity isn't just race. And ethnicity is the culture, it's the geography, it's the language, it's the customs. Those are the things that we want to protect, because somebody can come into that, such as through marriage, and be assimilated. But when you're just focusing on race, it becomes just an arbitrary category, because how far back are you going to go? Now, we do have an example of this in our British system with the, it's some form of visa, that I think it's called an advanced visa or something like that, where it stipulates on there that if you are the spouse of somebody who has one British grandparent, then you can get British nationality to come here. So we already have a grandparent rule that's in place. So if the ethno-nationalists got their way, that's the sort of thing that they would be looking at doing. I don't think that that's a particularly useful way of doing things, because I don't think it really tells you anything. Just because somebody looks a certain way, it doesn't necessarily reflect the values that they have and that they've been brought up in. So for me, communitarian is a much better way of looking at what I think the country needs.
See, I would go more with ethno-internationalist, and that's every country worldwide should be ethno-nationalist. Every country worldwide should preserve their native culture, their native language, their native race, whatever terms you want to use. Like, we should all be doing that because we all bring something marvelous to the table. No culture should be wiped out. I mean,
I don't know.
if Islam, and I've said this on Lubna's show, if Islam could put down the fanatical side, I would welcome Islam with open arms. But until it does that, I can't, because I'm gay. I'd be putting a nail in my own coffin.
Unlike Owen Jones, then.
Well, but Zach, tit whisperer.
But,
yeah.
Dean Paulden.
Like,
sorry, Zach Plansky.
we all bring something great to the table. Like, why should any culture be erased when we all bring something wonderful to the table? That's why personally I would go with ethno-internationalists.
Well, this is a historical sort of perversity that we have, really, because I can't think of any other culture that has deliberately gone about dismantling its own culture. It's certainly something that haven't, well, communism perhaps, yes, we could say that, but this is just unprecedented. It's really since the 90s when they introduced, as I'm sure you all remember, those two words, diversity and tolerance. Never heard of them before the end of the 90s. Now we're supposed to believe that this is what our country was founded upon. No, it wasn't.
It needs some kind of, decent policy that filters out everything that's happened over the last God knows how many years. I think 1948ish, something like that, when they started shipping them all over, and some of
the Windrush
assimilated
generation.
Windrush, that's it. Some of them have actually assimilated quite well.
They have, but there has been recently a bit of a revisionist history that started coming out, particularly the Pakistani community, that they built Britain after the Second World War, which is obviously absolute bollocks, because Pakistanis didn't start coming here until the late 60s, early 70s. So that did not happen. This country was rebuilt by British people after the war. But it helps push the multicultural narrative that there have always been diverse people here. Well, yes, there was once a trumpet player here in the Tudor times that was black, but that doesn't mean that we had a serious black population here. That's something that's only come recently.
Yeah, I actually Googled that literally yesterday, Jake.
Oh, really?
Literally. I was on Paul's show and I mentioned about, if we go back historically, the ancestry of this country has been historically white. And then someone who was also in the conversation after me, I'd left the conversation already, mentioned about the fact that there were black people here during the Tudor times. And I was like, oh, I didn't know that. So I Googled it. 200 people. That was it.
BBC would have you think otherwise.
200 people. Yeah, 200 people. That's it.
There you go. Yeah.
In the Tudors. So it's not like we had thousands and thousands and thousands of black people here. It's just completely unrealistic to say.
But has it really benefited our society, letting all these people in? Of course it hasn't. Look at what our society was. If you go back to the Edwardian times, this country was at the peak of its powers. So if we go back to, say, 1912, with the Titanic being a great symbol of our empire, obviously rather prophetic what happened to it. But we look at the country that we had then, look at the buildings that were being put up then and the architecture, look at the school system, how much more rigorous university degrees were at that particular time. Look at the standard of the politicians that we had at that particular time. And then look at what we've got today. And it's just been destroyed by the Labour government after the World War II. For example, the education system, where we had a grammar school system which allowed social mobility for people from working class families. Now, we still have a few working class areas that have grammar schools, and I know this because I worked in them for 15 years, so I can vouch that that is true. And it really does help people who are from disadvantaged backgrounds. But Labour thought that it would be better to let everybody have the same education. So we'll put everyone in the same classroom, because, of course, they're all going to learn the same way. Well, it doesn't.
Comprehensive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Doesn't work. It just produces mediocrity. The people at the top
Diamonds
get thicker. The people at the bottom get thicker. The people in the middle just do nothing.
Yeah.
Diamonds are only valuable because they're rare. So if everyone's got a degree, having a degree means nothing.
Absolutely right.
Yeah, but due to marketing, and you saying that proves that the marketing works, because diamonds aren't as rare as you think. It was all because they come up with a saying that diamonds are one's best friend. It was all marketing. So just because I mean every stone is a type of diamond.
Pick some other random rare thing.
I didn't say it like that.
You get what I'm saying. Yeah.
I just wanted to prove that I do have a little bit of knowledge. It's about diamonds, like nothing to do with politics, but nonetheless. Jake, you were asked a question. You want to? So go on.
What makes me unsure of advance? Well, what makes me unsure of advance is, in particular, the behaviour over the past couple of weeks doesn't seem very professional. That's put me right off it. The only real thing that I've got to go on that I would say was convincing was when they did that presentation that Ben did. I thought he presented himself very well. It sounded quite appealing, but it just didn't seem to me to have the weight behind it that it needs. I think it needs to have a stellar cast that is there that really are going to hit the ground running as soon as they got in power. And I just don't believe in it.
Yeah.
Now, if somebody could convince me otherwise, then that I'm not saying that I'd rule it out, but at the moment, not.
What you've got to remember is Advance UK is actually really against the establishment, having the people run the party, really. As opposed to a hierarchy where it's the top-down structures as it is now. So we didn't get a lot of media attention or anything like that, which actually tells you that, wait a minute, these guys might be onto something here. It's whether or not we can persuade people in the next 3 years to see the advantage of Advance UK.
That's the thing.
Yeah, even if we change the leader, which we can do. It's that powerful that we can actually, change the leader by putting a thing up with Nick Buckley if he's interested in that, and then see where it goes from then. Because I can't see that Restore Britain can have anything, ethnically to throw at us. You know what I mean? With a British English person at the helm.
Well, I've never joined a political party in all of the years, and I've never felt the need to do it because nothing has ever seemed appealing to me. It's nothing that I've never ever wanted to be interested in. I don't think I would actually join a party either because it's not really something that I'm hugely interested in. It's not something that takes up all of my day. I read other things, and as you can see behind me, I do lots of music as well. So politics is just something that I'm interested in from the cultural aspect of it. Now that might change over the next few years. I do find myself getting more and more frustrated at what's happening. And
exactly.
What I really would like is, because I'm from a rural area, it's very, very safe. It's very high trust here. It's 99% white. It's got a lot of history here. There's Roman history, Anglo-Saxon history, Norman history, buildings, castles, you name it. They're all here. I do not want to see that lost. And that is what I want to protect. Not just for me, but I've got nieces, I've got a nephew. It's for them and for their children. And if that means joining a party, then I will do that. But I'm not going to do it until I'm convinced that they are going to do what I want them to do, and that they're not just another voice, or they're not controlled opposition, or they're not just saying whatever to get into power.
Yeah. I mean, even Charlie Downs now, Restore guy, even Charlie Downs, who came out with some stuff. Even he's a lad on GB News. Now, GB News is a very basically almost owned by Nigel Farage. So why is he able to get onto
Farage show?
Yeah. So why is he able to appear on GB News? Is it so as he can dig his own hole, if you like, because of how he is, or what? And you've got to remember, he's quite high up in the command of Restore as well. So
I think it's more about the fact that they're giving him a platform so that they can demonize it.
That's what I mean. Yeah. Because they know his beliefs, what he's hinted on. Yeah.
Yeah, Farage is clearly sweating one out because it's funny how he comes out with, you know, private interviews that aren't to the public with, if you alienate Islam in 50, 60 years, we've lost. And then on the flip-flop, when Restore come about, now he's all suddenly hardline deportation. It's just like the guy doesn't know what he believes. He just says what the public wants to hear, so I don't trust it.
Is a follower, not a leader. Follower, not a leader.
Yeah.
That's something that I thought would be quite a good question for all of you. Is going back to what was mentioned in the chat before about mass deportations. Now, all of us would agree that there's been far too many people who have been let in. The illegal situation is out of hand and needs urgent sorting out. I would actually declare a national emergency, to be perfectly honest.
Right. Yeah.
But how do we go about deporting millions of people without causing a war?
Indeed.
You have to do it you'd have to do it.
Yeah, you do it in increments. Yeah, increments.
Yeah, it's going to have to be illegals. Your prisons, you know, empty prisons. Obviously, they're just a waste of taxpayer money.
The first thing that we need to establish is what Rupert's put forward, which is a red list. So that's a straight ban for countries around certain countries around the world that we already know aren't going to come here and integrate because they're here already and they're not integrating.
Yeah.
And there
like
needs
San
to
Marino,
be
full of terrorists.
So yeah, I mean, there's one avenue. We establish which countries we don't want here. Firstly, we get rid of all those people. Period. That they're deported. Period. Then we look at the next group of people. Right. This is who we've got left. Are these people integrating? If they've committed crime, you're gone. If you can't speak English, you're gone. If you're not prepared to go on a mandatory course to learn English, you're gone. If you're not working and you've been claiming benefits the entire time you're here, you're gone. If you're working, and this is another thing for me, it's not illegal immigration that's caused the biggest problem. It's actually legal migration. It has drained our tax funds because if they leave just before the end of the tax year and they come back after the start of the new tax year, all of their taxes returned to them and paid at their home country's rates. We don't get that.
No.
All of their NHS care becomes for free.
Yeah, I agree with all of that. What I would say, though, at that point is I wouldn't disagree with any of those ones that you've suggested because they would all offer something that's measurable. So you could clearly say they will be deported for this reason. Where it gets difficult, I think, is if you look into the sort of the philosophy of a liberal democracy, what you can't legislate against is somebody's belief. That's where I think it gets really difficult because it's all very well and good. You can say something like, I want to get rid of the extremists, which we all do. But the laws at the moment and the philosophy at the moment don't allow us to discriminate on belief. And I think that because Islam has caused and because it's such a unique system, because it isn't a religion, it's a political ideology, it's a manual for living, it's a law as well. I think that there needs to be specific legislation that instead of protecting it and stopping us from talking about it like they're trying to do, actually goes about restricting it, starting with the ban of halal meat.
Yeah, even, you know, Rupert Lowe's got a policy out on that, but if you listen to the nitty-gritty, the devil's in the detail, no halal or kosher slaughter on British soil. So if it's imported in, then that's fine.
I don't have a problem if people want to eat kosher, if people want to eat halal, that is their choice. But I don't agree with that slaughter method being done on British shores. If they want to pay the extra to import it, that's on them.
Okay,
they can import it if they want to, as long as it's not being done here. The British people do not agree with that slaughter method.
No. And a lot of it is done to familiarise them with killing, and it's a sacrificial ritual. So if they're happy to cut a cow's throat, they'll be more than happy to cut yours if it comes down to it, because they'll have done it before. And children do it done as well with goats, where they have it for a year and they sacrifice it, I think, for Eid. Whereas for us, are too tolerant, we've become too liberal, that it's difficult for us to fight back against an ideology like that because our laws fight against us, which is why we need to get rid of the ECHR and we need to have a British Bill of Rights.
Yep.
Yeah.
And
So
also a digital Bill of Rights for our online persona too.
I don't know the nitty-gritty over the ECHR, but I do know that Ben keeps preaching about needing to get Northern Ireland out of the EU so as we can leave the ECHR properly. Yeah, I've got no reason to not believe that. I imagine that's
How do we
correct.
get Northern Ireland out of the EU, though? How do we even go about that?
We've got
Give them a referendum?
I have no
Because I
idea.
thought they were included in our referendum because they're part of the UK.
Yeah,
I think the whole problem is the border with Southern Ireland. That's the problem.
Yeah.
And what's
So
the
what do we
problem?
do? Do
is
we give
comments
Northern
like
Ireland?
this.
Do we give Northern Ireland back to the Irish?
Well,
Same as I
we've
say, I
got
don't know the nitty-gritty of that.
We'd have open warfare if that happened.
Yeah, don't know.
I mean,
I mean the whole.
Years.
Yeah,
do that.
For sure.
So it is a really difficult question, and it's incredibly complex, and I wouldn't even pretend to know the ins and outs of it. But Northern Ireland, is a problem there.
I do believe Ben's got the answer, and I do believe there is iterated on the answer, but I can't remember what it is exactly.
And we shouldn't forget either. Parliament is the ultimate power in this country. Parliament can repeal anything that it wants to, and it can put whatever laws it wants in place. So if we wanted to get rid of the ECHR, then we will. Now, there'll be ramifications for it, possibly sanctions from the EU or tariffs or something like that. But if we do that, we are going to have this industrial complex of human rights lawyers are going to continue to dictate what we can and what we can't do. And we should be making those decisions. Ministers in Parliament should do it and should be accountable for it.
Yeah, do the same as Poland, pay that £1 million a day, and then do what we want. I mean, that's breadcrumbs. That's breadcrumbs to government.
When you consider we're spending billions on the people that are coming in via hotels and free phones and free. I've been trying to get a dentist for the last 5 years.
Yeah, me too.
And then you get people coming in, they're getting their dentistry for
11
free.
years.
Yeah, actually got them inside their hotels, haven't they? Dentists and doctors.
Yeah, they go in and do visit them. Yeah. It's absolutely.
I've been waiting 11 years for a dentist. I come out of hospital in July 2024 after having a heart attack and dying for over 3 minutes. And my heart specialist said, you need to sort your gob out, get those teeth out. And if you have to have dentures, do that, because obviously it's not going to be good for your heart. Well, I'm still waiting, and that's about 15 months later. But in 11 years, I've been waiting.
Well, tell your doctor, Wes. Tell your doctor, and then you can go to hospital and go and get took out or whatever.
It has to be
they're
through
looking
a
at
dentist.
Sorry?
It has to be through a dentist. GPs can't refer you to hospital for dentistry. Only dentists can. I only know this because I recently had 4 teeth, 2 on the bottom, 2 on the top, at the very back of my mouth that they literally couldn't get out at a dentist, so they had to.
Yeah, it has to be.
Like they would have been short of using a scalpel, so they sent me to a hospital.
Yeah.
I'll say.
Yeah, other than that, you got no chance. I mean, the GP thinks it's a serious thing to your health. They can put it forward, but even that can be ignored. It's crazy. I've been waiting 11 years all in because I think the first time I got teeth punched out on the door, literally from that point on, I've just been waiting. And it's ridiculous.
Oh, yeah, you're not waiting for a doctor to come knocking on your door, are you?
It doesn't matter.
You're not waiting for a doctor to come knocking on your door, are you? And say, hello, would you like your teeth pulled? Not waiting like that way. I'm waiting. Are you actually, filled in an application form?
We phone. We even tried the
spaces.
101 line, and we phone and everything. Because obviously, because of my heart, they don't want me to end up with, say, any type of like infection or any sort of pus building up in my mouth because it puts strain on my heart. Yeah. And now I've had
such a image given us there was lovely image of a mouthful of pus.
Yeah, I know. Have a bit of that. That's a bit of wizardry.
If you're eating, hold it in.
But yeah, but
I just
basically,
took
I've
a
been
sip
waiting
of
11
coffee.
years and I'm still waiting. So I've had people say to me, start a GoFundMe. And I'm like, I'm not like that. I hate having to say on this when I say about like bloody super chats and Kofi and all that. Because as you can tell, we're what, 2 hours, 47 minutes in. I'm only mentioning it now to you because it's relevant to this conversation. But I can't talk about things like that. I've never
Yeah.
been one to accept money. If I need it, I'll go out and earn it. It's as simple as that. Otherwise, I
But
keep my mouth
Wizard,
shut. But people are saying, no, you've
what
got to do it. Oh, no.
Wizard, your time
Yeah.
right now should be earning you money. Because time, you can't buy it back once it's gone. So
That's very
your
true.
time right now should be earning you money. So never feel ashamed for the fact that people want to support your work. Don't
There
feel
you go.
ashamed about
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, I've had super chats through and that. I mean, it makes me just feel weird because like people are giving me something. But I mean, I've always said time is money. I've always earned my money. But I mean, thanks to YouTube, blimey, if I still had a mortgage, I would have lost my house. Put it that way. But I enjoy it. I get ad revenue. It's not massive. I get a couple of quid a day, but you know, it's better than a kick in the nuts, I suppose, isn't it? And then obviously all the Kofi and memberships and super chats, they're just all Brucey bonus. But I don't go out my way advertising it all. I did try. It just feel weird.
How's it gone in terms of the support that you've get? Have you found that you've had more support than you've had, say, for example, trolls, which you're always going to get, or has it been a really positive experience for you?
It's got better lately. I mean, to start with, you know, because I was talking about Islam and things like that, and I sort of, as you'll see the videos, I've stopped talking about certain things because I mean, I've had depression, anxiety, and bipolar for like 4 decades. Do you know what I mean? It's like it doesn't do me good, and as much as I look at it and ignore it, I could end up being up till 2, 3 in the morning because in the back of my head, I'm like, someone said that and I've not replied to it. I need to sort of stick up for myself. So I find that sort of thing.
You can't fight. You can't fight every single insult that gets thrown at you though, because you'll just end up tearing your hair out.
Yeah,
I've noticed. I mean, I don't have a channel. I go on other people's channels, and there's one channel that I do work with behind the scenes doing research for them. But what I've noticed is that generally the people that go on channels have got good intentions and do want to try and improve things, but there is a real undercurrent of trolls that are out there, and you've got the ones that will just throw insults out at people, but there's also really, really nasty ones that will take it to the next level.
Well, we have found a dilution of reform trolls. You know, they seem to have diluted that.
I think a lot of it is like my past and that. I mean, what were we about 2 hours 50 minutes? So not many people's going to watch it to get up to this point. So I can say a bit more because I know people aren't going to see it. But like for me, like I was adopted with my sister. I was in a family where they end up having their own son and daughter, so we're like rejects. They made sure we never had anything. Then I got groomed by my neighbour, and then I was homeless. And then like everything about me and my life has always been like people sort of destroying me. Basically, it doesn't matter what your dream is, it ain't happening. Do you know what I mean? And it's just been constant. And even to this day, believe it or not, you can ask my missus. Right, I've been with her 27 years. We've been married 19. I cannot till this day. Literally, I'm going to say this. It's making me feel ill already. But I cannot say those 3 words to her face. I still can't.
Well, that's of your background, though, isn't it? It's the background that you've dealt with, you've had to deal with, has affected how you are right now. That's not a fault of yours.
No, but it feels weird. I feel bad for my missus because I can't say it. Do you know what I mean? We're not on this planet forever. I've got to try and say it once, but it's like because I have a fear of it being thrown in my face, and that's why I get defensive. I think.
Do you believe in it? Do you believe that you do?
Yeah, 100%. I always say to my missus, like, if she says it, I'm like, well, you know, I do, and then I'm off.
Well, there's a start, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I can say other things. I'm really good. I write poetry, I write song lyrics and all that. Not that anyone's ever going to see them, but I've even written things for the missus, and have that word in it, but it wouldn't have you. Do you know what I mean? It wouldn't have that as free, but it'd be in there in some kind of way. So, and then normally if I got credit on my phone, like randomly, it'd be say 1 o'clock, she'd be out with her daughter or whatever. Something could pop in my head. So instead of putting it in a song, I actually send it to her as a text message. So, you know, that hopefully compensates for not saying that. I don't know. She's still with
Maybe
me, so
you could say, "I heart you."
Yeah.
yeah, she'd be like, what do you mean you hate me? What?
Heart.
I know.
Heart.
I'd
You know,
say
that
it
big
in
old
a,
thing in your chest.
That would work.
yes, I know. But
That'd be a
I
good-
did, like, I mean, I've got it, you know, I say my things, especially like when I had that heart attack and died, and she's like, I can't believe your heart stopped. And I said, yeah, but it won't because I'm with you. So it's always going to start again. Do you know what I mean? I have my moments.
Oh,
I just can't
that's
say
really
certain
sweet.
things.
That's so sweet.
Ah.
All I can say is the people that are the most blessed have the heaviest cross. That's all I can say. Like, I've had a
Yeah,
really
it's
hard
quite
life.
heavy.
I'm from the same situation
could
as
tell.
you. I'm adopted, and I've had a lot of childhood trauma that I've had to somehow come to terms with as an adult. Back in 2016, through complete accident, my birth sister came back into my life. We were separated at adoption, which is very, very rare. But we were separated at adoption. My birth sister came back into my life, and back in 2016, my birth mum had already found my half sister, but had zero intention of looking for me, as I mentioned, my birth circumstances.
Mm.
And then I didn't know anything about my birth circumstances prior to 2016. And then I had a conversation with my mum on the phone because my sister was trying to get me and my mum talking. And she told me everything, and it completely destroyed my self identity. It completely destroyed everything I thought I was. And I've had to rebuild step by step. But you know what I've learned from that? I've learned that I'm far stronger than I ever thought I was.
Mm.
And I've learned that,
100%.
you know what, if I can get through that, there's nothing that anyone could throw at me that is going to top that. Nothing. So I'm set for life. I am set for life because there is going to be nothing that you can throw at me that's going to be harder for me to deal with than that. Other than me losing my adoptive parents, that's going to be something I don't know how I'm going to deal with. Nothing in life is going to compare to that. So I consider it a blessing. There's a silver lining in everything.
I would
Silver
say
lining in everything, mate.
it's not in any way comparable to the stories that I've heard here, but I would definitely say that I didn't have exactly the best upbringing that you could have. It was difficult. Things have always been difficult, and I've always had to try and manage with having narcolepsy as well, without knowing that I've got it and being told throughout my entire life that I'm lazy when, in fact, I am lazy, but that's not the point. But say that, and then I managed to get a career, and you know, I did as much as I could. But when you've got a condition like this, you can't work full time; it's impossible. So in the end, I couldn't do it. I had to give up work, and essentially that meant in one day that I ended up losing a career, my partner, and my home. That was a very difficult thing to have to deal with at the age of 40. And that's where I agree with what Ace was just saying. It's when you have that hardship that you find out what you're really about. And the thing that I learned is there's very few people that you can actually rely on. And anyone who didn't help during that period, I now have nothing to do with. I only speak to people that bring good things into my life. And it helped me in a lot of ways to do things like you were mentioning writing lyrics before. You know, I've got all my music stuff behind me. I've played guitar for 35 years, I think. And I don't do it for any reason other than myself. You know, I write and record things all the time. I do it because I like it. It's not for anyone else.
Have they prescribed you any Medinafil?
Yeah, I've got modafinil, 400 milligrams a day.
Yeah, 400, yeah.
It's good, but you can't solve it. It's impossible to solve. And, you know, I have to take medication every day. But, like I say, the thing that I've really learned is that when you have nothing, literally nothing, you appreciate things far more. And I've really started to take on board the idea that, you know, just doing something, giving something, even if it's just talking to people, sometimes that can be enough. And it's not always about going out and earning money and doing that sort of thing. That's important, but there are other things that are more important, and that we should try and sort of find ourselves about, you know, find out about what we're really about.
Yeah.
And I think that that is a painful thing to have to do, especially if, like we've all said, we have difficult childhoods. You do get to a point in your 30s, I think, when it sort of hits you and you realise what's happened and you try and make the best of what you've got.
Yeah.
Definitely,
Yeah,
definitely.
I mean, doing things
to-
like this. This is about all I do, and I'll watch YouTube. You see, but doing things like this actually helps me out mentally as well. You know, talking to folk and actually making a difference as well. You know, because no matter which way around you look at it, you can make a difference because you influence other people, such as colored members, and you know.
But especially if you're like me, and like I seem to recall Ace is very similar in this regard. And don't like going out. I don't like speaking to other people. I like to have my own space. I like to shut the door, and I like to think about when I have to go out next and dread it.
Yeah.
So somewhere like this is a great environment because it means, yes, I can actually speak to people who I might find common ground with. I might
socializing. You're socializing, mate. Yeah.
But also learning things, and that for me is the most important thing. I'm just obsessed with learning.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Same. Do you know what? I don't know about you, Jake, but when I was at school, I had zero interest in the curriculum, like zero interest.
I didn't give a
And
fuck.
when I got out of school and I started, you know, living my life and did all the stupid things as a young adult, blah, blah, blah. And then I started to value education a bit more. And some of the things, like I was learning by myself, like electrons as an example, they don't solidly exist. They pop in and out of existence. Where do they go when they pop out of existence to then repop? Like, this wasn't taught in the curriculum at school. Not that I remember, anyway. Maybe it was, and I just wasn't paying attention. But like, I find that stuff now fascinating, absolutely fascinating.
You're
the
right.
two-slit experiment where they've proven that photons collapse as a wave into a physical particle under observation. Until the point of observation, they're a wave.
That's a dual slit experiment that they did.
Yeah, two-slit experiment. Like, if I'd been taught that stuff at school, I would have been so engaged because I would have been fascinated. But we weren't taught that at school.
Both a wave and a particle, which is not supposed to exist, or something.
Yeah.
I was kind of like that, Ace, at school. I didn't really give a fuck, to be honest. I was more interested in playing my guitar and taking drugs, to be honest with you. I got kicked out of school in but what I did, though, that got me into education really was there's a big book printers in the town where I come from. So we always used to have lots of books for free that would end up there. So, you know, I had libraries of books, and so I used to just read a lot at home. And so when I would go to school, it was more the fact that I would hear what they were saying, and I would think, yeah, but there's more to it that you're not telling us. What about this? And what about that? And having to keep my mouth shut all the time. And I wanted to go into music, and I went to study it. And whilst I was studying it, most of the people who were on the course were into hard drugs. And I wasn't interested in that. So I used to go to the library and read instead. And doing that made me much more interested in literature and things like that. And so that's the path I went down instead. And I'm really glad that I did, and just absolutely obsessed with learning. It's all I want to do. I want to know everything. Cool. Which is impossible, of course. But I try.
And that's all you can do in life is try. That's all you can do. The second you stop trying, you've lost. So,
and it's difficult when you have, like, you know, the sort of situations that we've had. It's difficult when you always have to fight for everything because it just leaves you drained constantly. And I think we should try and, you know, I don't want to sound like some hippie, but I think that sometimes we should be a bit kinder to ourselves and allow ourselves time where we just sit around and do fuck all, for example. Allow ourselves to be lazy for a day. There's nothing wrong with doing that. Allow yourself to have an opinion that other people might not like. Be brave.
That's it. Yeah.
And I genuinely believe, though, that there are people that want the best for this country. What concerns me is whether or not there's enough of them to be able to get the right people in power, because I think there's a real worry of a Green and Labour alliance.
Yeah, I'm worried about that.
Yeah,
I'm very worried about that.
me too. Yeah, that'd be terrible. I'd move. Well, I keep saying on every stream, I'd move. My sister doesn't know it yet, but I'd move in with his sister in Munich. Got enough room for me.
Is it over there though? It's pretty bad in Germany.
It's pretty bad, yeah. My sister's kind of like a leftist, but who's not bothered about politics. But yeah, she's quite left, you know.
I think again in Europe, it's like here. It's the cities where you have the problems. If you go just outside a city 5 minutes, you don't find anywhere near the problems.
No.
Yeah.
It's all to do with employment, which you might find mostly in cities.
Yeah.
Oh, I see Bobby's in the chat. I was hoping to speak to him at some point because I saw him on here the other day with, I think it was Friday night.
Was that Bobby D? Yeah.
Yeah, I know Bobby.
Last Thursday, I think it was.
Yeah.
You're going to come and chat, Bobby?
Hey,
You're
Bobby.
going to come and have a chat, Bobby?
Have you learnt anything about that homework that we gave you?
No, it didn't. He did like. I put the link up there, so.
But I'm
links there, Bobby, if you can, mate. If you want to come
I'm
up.
going to take off now because I'm getting a bit tired. So it's not anyone on here who made that happen. It just happened.
Okay, Jake. No worries, mate. No worries. Love to see
that's
you.
good, mate. Like I say, we do it on I'll be open up Wednesday and Thursday 7 p.m. and a Saturday at 4 p.m. But maybe random ones like this as well when we got Mo or something during the week. But yeah, if you're about, mate, please come up because
been great to see you.
It's interesting.
And Ace, it's been really good to see you. I haven't seen you for ages, so it's great to have a speak with you. And I'll send you a message on your YouTube channel or something like that.
All right, mate. Yeah.
Take care.
Bobby, just before you go, Jake, Bobby said he'll be back. He'll be on later this week on Thursday. He's starving, so he's gonna get some food. So
I'm about. I'll see you on Thursday.
Oh yeah, he's just popped it on the screen. There we go. Yeah.
Yeah.
I see it. Yeah. I'm about. I'll come in. But yeah, it's good to see you, Ace. It's been a while, and we always have a good
time. Hasn't it? I'm really sad to hear about Lubna, though. I hope she's okay. I might try and give her a message on Instagram.
She might change her mind. She did do last time. She might change her mind again.
Yeah, she's already had to move once, though, mate. I don't think she's going to want to risk moving again. I feel so sorry for the woman because she's really trying hard to bridge gaps. Like, she really, really is trying. And like I said, if there were more moderates that were prepared to stand up like her, then I would maybe see a bit more hope. Yeah, I'd see a bit more hope, but I just don't see it. And Lubna has been absolutely demonized by her own community. It doesn't exactly give much hope for anyone who might want to stand up and then say, "Would you know what? I actually also don't agree with this." When they observe someone so active who's getting absolute abuse left, right, and centre. So I just hope she's okay. She's a really lovely person.
Nuria gets
Say that again.
Nuria Khan gets nowhere near that level of abuse, and she says far worse things about Islam.
Yeah, true.
So it's a strange situation, but I don't know anything about it, to be honest. It's not really to do with me, but good to speak to you all. Take care and
have a good one.
Yeah, all the best, mate. Take it easy. Stay safe.
Bye.
See you later, mate. Bye.
We'll go once I press.
Yeah. Once I press
that wasn't me. That was him.
Eject button.
Those who are asking in the chat about Ace, i.e., good news, bad news, I'll put the link up. That's the channel link for her channel, which she'll be starting next month, I believe.
Yeah, cheers, Wiz. I did actually put it in chat myself because I saw a few people.
I subbed.
Yeah, me. You did. I did see that, guys. Thank you. Yeah, I did see that.
It saves me having to tell. I was going to say, oh yeah, they want your linked, but like put it up in there. So I'm surprised you actually get to put the link up because like mods and that can. Well, I didn't know. It's good to know that normal people can as well because always say, I'll put a link up, and they're like, oh, I can't.
Oh, I just went. So I'm on my PC. I just went onto my YouTube channel, copy pasted the link from the URL, and slapped it in the chat.
Might be different on StreamYard.
Yeah, well, it worked.
Might be different. Might be different on StreamYards, Wiz.
Yeah, I posted
Oh,
it
yeah.
on
StreamYard.
YouTube itself. Yeah.
Oh, did you?
I
Oh,
opened
right.
up
on-
another. Yeah,
oh, that's
I've got the
fine.
Streamlabs open, and then I opened another Google page.
I see.
Yeah.
Opened up YouTube and then put it in the
Put
comment
it
for the
there.
video.
Okay. I
Yeah.
see.
Oh, okay. I'm glad that worked then. Happy days. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you go, ladies and gents.
Yeah.
So you can go and subscribe. Get ready.
Mm-hmm. I'm
Yeah,
getting hungry.
I'm gonna hop off as well, but absolutely
Yep.
great conversation again today, Wiz. Really appreciate being part of the conversation.
No worries.
Same as what I
It was all
said to
promoted.
Paul Yeah, same what I said to Paul yesterday. You know, people like you, like this work is really, really important. Like, thank you for giving people a platform to speak on. People
Absolutely.
like yourself have inspired me to do the same. We need to get this conversation going and
Definitely.
keep it going.
Correct.
So
Yep.
thank you.
I
Yeah.
appreciate it. It's good to have you on. I think, you know, what you know and that you're an asset to this channel and to the viewers. So, yeah, you've got to keep
Oh,
coming
cheers,
back.
buddy.
You're here now.
Yeah, we'll do. Yeah, we'll do. I've been loving this.
happy
It's been
days.
great. Like, I've meeting nice people. You know, I might not agree with everything, but that's part and parcel of life. I appreciate having my opinion challenged because I don't want to go through life just thinking I'm right about everything because that's arrogant.
That's
and I
it.
don't want to.
Yeah.
I don't want to be arrogant. So
No,
I'd
no,
like my
definitely not.
opinion to be challenged. I'd like to learn from other people, learn their perspectives, because that's what
Yep.
brings the walls down.
That's
And
correct.
I said the same thing to Lubna. Like, what helps stop world wars? It's quite easy. It's the populations of those countries talking to each other.
Yeah.
It's the government that want the war, not the people of the country. So yeah, like
Yep.
this work is really important. Thank you for giving
Wise
people like us
words.
a platform.
Wise words.
Not
Thank you very
problem.
much.
Not
No
a
problem.
problem.
Have a great day, guys, and I'll catch you on the next one.
See you. Bye.
We'll do. See you later. Stay safe.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You
Bye.
too.
Bye. I'm hungry, Wiz.
I can't
we're
believe
about
that.
done, aren't
3
we?
hours, 10 minutes. Bloody hell.
Yeah.
We done well, mate. Haven't we?
Done well there. Yeah, I had one toilet break. Yeah.
Did you? Oh, yeah. I went and got a coffee.
You noticed, yeah. Right. Yeah.
But,
Okay. Well, I'll go as well then. All right.
Yep.
I think
Happy
it'll be about
days.
the end. All right. I'll leave
yeah.
you to tidy up and say your wizard words.
Yeah, if
bits.
Nick
All right.
Buckley's not about on the Wednesday and Thursday night, there'll be call-ins and the Saturday, as you know. So yeah, make sure you're about, mate. Make sure you're about, geese.
Yeah, I've
Happy
got a
days.
date on Thursday. I've got a date on Thursday, but I've already warned her that I might be keeping her out of a hijab, you know, because it's that important. So I did say that, and she gave the correct response of, "Oh wow, that is so good." You know what I mean? So yeah, I think this one might be a hit. This one might be
That's
a hit.
her
You never know.
impressed.
Yeah. Right, I'll see you, mate. Ta-da. Be good.
All right, mate. Take it easy.
Cheers. Bye.
Stay safe. Oh wow, how cool's that? Press the wrong button then. Right, there we go. Happy days. So did get let's quickly go like recap Silver Wizard, the 51st day, happy days. Phil for a month, and he said moo, but put up a sheep. That was good. Tyson, remember, it's the leftist Muslims who are violently disagree and racist. This country has had a far right for over 40 years. And then he said, any online racist abuse Ben Habib was gotten would have been leftist bots accounts and non-whites, not anyone from the right. And that's what we were sort of saying, getting at, like there's more to that than meets the eye. Lucy Connolly was locked up over a tweet. If any of those Ben Habib tweets from anyone remotely right-wing, they'd have been behind bars already. Yes, agree with that as well. And then obviously Phil said name tags, but obviously when I put things up on screen like this, they disappear, and when I take it down, the wizard, speaker of truth, it reappears. Way, so that's what it's all about. So happy days. But you don't recognize your town centre anymore. No, but things are changing, aren't they? It's crazy. It's crazy times, but happy days. There we go. Look at that. Over 3 hours that was. So that was brilliant having people on like Ace and who else did we have? We had Helen, we had Mo, and of course we had Dr. Jake Forder. So yeah, it was absolutely superb today. That's how we want it to be. Like every time we go live, get all people coming up. Oh, obviously we had Michael up as well, didn't we? Peace Power. So yeah, it's happy days. So Don't forget, go check out at YTGNBN. That's that advert for the biscuits. BNBN. Do you remember that? Go GNBN, GNBN. But go and check Ace's channel out starting next month. So she will appreciate all your support. There's the link. Oh, happy days. So yeah, go subscribe. You've got to support her. So it'll be a brilliant channel. Just like this one. So happy days. So we go, ladies and gents. That's not bad, is it? Over 3 hours. So I'll be back. Remember it. GNBN. GNBN. If you clip that bit out and use that as an advert, if you're I want 50%. No, GNBN. The Wiz has gone nuts. But yeah, it's all happy days. But no, it's been good. It's been good. Happy days. What's today? Monday, isn't it? Yeah, Monday with Mo. Of course it was. I forgot Mo was there. He was there for 2 hours. But yes, I'll be back tomorrow, 1 o'clock, obviously. We'll see how it goes. And then depending on what we're talking about and that, is anyone in chat says whatever, then again we might, invite people up, and that. It's good when we listen to other people. It's just not all my voice. Do you know what I mean? So happy days. So every single one of you, stay safe. Stay nice and warm. It's horrible here. Living the dream. But like I say, at the end of every single video, that is the Wizard's words.